You're old, groaning like a geezer.
Stew, and her name is Minerva Oaks. She's the flower of the devoured goats.
Right in the kisser. I don't get to run those very often anymore, so whenever I can squeeze them in, I will. Hey, everybody, welcome to Graybeard'S Studio. This is a show where we draw what you ask us to draw, of course, with my manipulation involved. You'll notice I forgot to change the title card. This is actually episode 6, and we're doing the Robert E. Howard universe. We're not doing Hanna-Barbera again. So I apologize. Everything is crazy today. We're still waiting for a Sasquatch sighting. But I will say this, David Williams is here, so let's welcome him. So we have 2/3 of the show. Welcome, David. While we stall and wait for a Bigfoot sighting, none of us actually completely, I guess Kelsey sort of did, although he added some background to his Space Ghost piece from last week after the show was over, so we still have to see that. But I know that you were promising to ink your Frankenstein Jr. Why don't you show us your final result, will you please? I'm gonna go big screen on you, dude.
All right.
Everybody wants to see it. There it is. Here it comes. Oh, look at that. Look at that nice little rendering. Tremendous. There's Buzz Conroy, boy scientist. Oh, you got a little splatter down there. I like that. Look at that. Man, you went to town. Yeah, we're going to have an auction coming up soon, and you know I'm going to be bidding on that one. Or I'll have an agent of mine bid on it. I don't want any sort of, accusations of, me being underhanded or anything there. That's a great piece, man. 11 by 17. Wow. Well, okay, well, let's take a look at what I did. I posted on social media. There we go. All right. Okay, I did the Mighty Mightor, as you guys may recall, and I didn't get the background done, but it is done now. I had this thing about 3/4 of the way done last time, and I spent that, as soon as we got off the air, I spent the entire rest of the day finishing this because it was driving me nuts. I had to get it done. So anyway, there we go. There's Mightor. Kelsey tricked me into using watercolors, which put me behind and was unable to finish on the show. I'm not going to let him do it to me again. But there's the finished piece. So, David went 11 by 17. I went 11 by 14, trying to be a little bit more efficient and still wasn't able to kind of get it done in time. But there it is. It is finished. And I can say this. Joe Jusko reached out to me, liked it very much. So there you go.
I like that lightning coming off of his club. That was awesome.
Oh, yeah. I used your Presto pen, to do that. And then was able to put a little highlight there on the side.
Mhm.
So, yeah. All right. Thank you very much. We're good with that. So, this was an interesting. Wait a minute. What the heck? I'm not sure I appreciate that. I don't normally do this outside the Sunday show, but there you go, Marcus. I was surprised. I put a poll up. I just gave two choices: Robert E. Howard universe or Edgar Rice Burroughs. And I thought for sure Burroughs would win because with Burroughs, you've got Tarzan, you got John Carter of Mars, you got Carson of Venus, you got Pellucidar, Middle Earth stuff, or not Middle Earth, but the center Earth. What do we call it? Where the dinosaurs live in the middle of the Earth kind of thing. But Robert E. Howard kicked butt. So I think there's perhaps just more familiarity with Conan, King Cole, Solomon Kane, Red Sonja, those type of characters, Bran MacMorn. And so that's what we're going to go with today, of course, if Kelsey ever shows up. So let's take a look at the chat real quick and see who's here while we're stalling for Bigfoot. Creative Fail Illustration was the first one in the house. He's quite proud of himself because he beat Leg Kick to being first. You're first, but you get nothing for it, Creative Faye, but we appreciate you being here. Kevin Thomas coming in second place. John said Kelsey lied to us. I've been looking for this stream since 1 o'clock. I assume maybe 1 o'clock Eastern time or something. But everything's Pacific time when I host. I'm out on the West Coast still, the left coast, as they say. Agent Zero Studios is here. Let's see. We got a lot of back and forth between the same few guys. Paul Taylor. Now, Paul is our resident biologist. So if we get any tough questions, he's there to answer the stuff for us. Big Robert E. Howard fan. And let's see here. World of Conan is here. That seems very apropos for today's show. Hail to all. God bless the Loprestis. Thank you. And I'm sure you mean the Williams as well and the Shannons if they ever show up. And bring the hammer of Conan. We shall bring it today. Let's see here. Steve Miller, not from the Steve Miller Band, I'm guessing. I'll have to catch the replay. Stupid day job. Yeah. As someone who's played in the Howard universe and produced releases around his lesser-known creations, this is a topic of great interest to me. Well, Steve, we will be here in reruns for you. So whenever you can get there, we will be here. Dan Genovese, Dan the Pizza Man Genovese is here. David Brohawk Williams is here, but now he's actually here, not just in the chat. Elongated Muscus has joined us. Solomon Kane says, you might get your wish. Jason Moore is here. Yo, what's up, guys? Looking forward to seeing what you guys conjure up on this episode. I'll be inking over some Joe Bennett pencils while listening and watching. I'm kind of excited about this, too. We've got a lot of good possibilities. Kelsey is never late. He arrives precisely when he means to. He's in the green room right now, but I'll make him wait a minute. Sketch 51, love Frank Cho, but never. Okay, they're talking to somebody else. Timothy Fitzgerald is here. Padistic. Geek Avenger, of course, is here. Hey, you know what? I've got to Geek Avenger. Well, I'll wait till the Sunday show. Geek Avenger and his wife Squeaky sent me a present. I got it. I haven't opened it yet, but I opened the box, but I saw there's like decorative bags in there. I don't know if it was a birthday present or what. And I'm going to open that on the Sunday show. I was going to do it last week and I forgot, but it's sitting right over there, and we'll do it this Sunday, Geek. So stay tuned for that. Henry Bemis is here. Tars9 all the way from Canada. Paul Taylor asked me, why are you looking for Sasquatch, Aaron, when Kelsey is right there? Indeed. Oh, wait a minute. Look at that. Look at that. Holy smokes. What? And I said this was a kid's show. And this is what you lead with?
They got to learn sometime.
Yeah, I guess so. Hyrule Guy is here. Bill Weist is here. I'm going to roll through this, guy, so we can get rolling. Quoth the Raven. Louis Bright Raven is here. H&R. Damafino. Normadaman is here. Jay Dredd. Ellie Munoz. Caesar. Joseph Pantalone. Not to be confused with Pantaloons. Michael Reisner is here. Richie Dupe. Skull Nasher. Wait a minute. Is that our buddy? Isn't Skull Nasher? Isn't that Dale? Or am I
No,
confused?
that's Numbskull 44.
Oh, Numbskull. Okay.
Yeah.
So close. It's like a relative.
Yeah, skull
So-
stuff.
Yeah. Borgivo Gribic says Pellucidar. I know I just butchered his name, but anyway, we got a house full of Hojos here. So anyway,
Hojos.
let's take a look. Kelsey, you went and finished up your Space Ghost.
Well, I was going to do more, but man, it's been a busy week. I was going to add the monkey and have him on the ship like you guys were talking about, and add stars and stuff, but I did kind of add like a Kirby-esque nebula kind of going on.
I do like that.
Yeah,
That looks
it's just,
nice.
it definitely pops him out. So you guys were onto something there. So
Yeah.
I'll admit. Yeah.
Listen to your elders. Listen to your elders.
Exactly.
Hey, Shadow Pawn threw me $5. Thank you or Shadows Pawn $5. Thank you so much for that. If you want to know more about Howard, watch the movie The Whole Wide World with Renee Zellweger, Vincent D'Onofrio. It's a great movie.
I
Okay.
like Vincent D'Onofrio a lot.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that movie, but I will check it out. Henry Bemis says the only Howard books I knew as a kid were the ones with Frazetta covers because my dad collected those. That was my experience too. We're going to actually talk about that a little bit here.
How the heck are we going to top that? I mean, no way.
I know I've got Frazetta art on the title card. I already set us up to tell you.
Well, he's the winner this week. That's
Yeah,
what-
exactly. Frank's is already won. As I was telling David earlier, I was a little surprised. I really thought Edgar Rice Burroughs would probably run away with this, but no.
Yeah.
It's Robert E. Howard all the way, which is fine with me because I love both, and so that means no Princess Deja Thoris for anybody this week.
Yeah, but there's definitely David was teasing Red Sonja, but
Well, now David's mixing stuff up. I think I was watching, as I do every once in a while. I'll go back and watch like videos from boxing from the 70s. And I was watching some Ali as he was beating the crap out of George Foreman. And it just thought to me, I go, David's messing with Kelsey. You're George Foreman, Kelsey. You're about to go down in the 8th. So
you think he's saying one thing and he's going to do another?
I just don't. I think he's trying to confuse us so that we're
the old
always,
rope-a-dope.
we can't plan anything. So
Doing the old rope-a-dope.
Yep, exactly.
Letting us fall over our own feet.
Now, before we say what we're going to do and get drawing, David, you said check these pens out. You even posted a video.
Oh yeah.
And I picked up a set right here.
Yep.
So these Zig memory system calligraphy pens, I am going to be inking with those today, and we shall see how great they actually are.
See, Aaron is so on his game. He already got them. I still have not ordered mine. David was like, "Did you get them?" I'm like, "No, not yet. I'm on to get them." I really want to try them out.
Well, they're not that expensive. It's like that box was like $14.99 on Amazon. So I was like, all right. And I had
how many come in the box?
It's like
6,
isn't there?
Oh wow. Yeah, good deal. I guess I'm stuck with the old fashioned, good old Bombay Black.
All right, David, have you made up your mind
Yeah.
on what you're actually going to do?
Yeah.
All right, share it with us, please. What are you going to do today?
Conan.
All right.
Oh.
So he's going with the basic. He's going with Conan, the icon. I am going to, after much deliberation, I went back and forth between King Cole and Solomon Kane, which are my two faves. And I've got a pretty solid idea for Solomon Kane, so I'm going to go with Solomon Kane. Kelsey, you know what that leaves you with? Are you going to take it? Are you taking the bait? Are we setting you up, or are we throwing you a bone?
Well, I was initially thinking Varia, because I always loved her from the movie Conan. But the thing is that I have to set this up a little bit. I'm not that familiar with Robert E. Howard. I have not read a lot of these books. I'm familiar with what I've seen in the movies and stuff. And so that's about it. I mean, and so I was talking to a fellow. I posted a little bit on my YouTube community post, and was talking about it, and I admitted to him, yeah, I hadn't read a whole lot, and he was giving me a lot of great suggestions for stuff, but none that really clued me into what I was thinking about doing here. So I was going to poll the chat and see if maybe they had, like, what would you like to see me do as someone that has very little familiarity with this stuff?
Well, Ellie Munoz says, draw Grace Jones.
Hey, I can get down with that. Yeah.
A guy in his room says, Kelsey is here. Hope he and his cubs are well. Sending virtual salmon to him or honey.
Yeah,
so there you go.
Thank you. I'll take honey.
Timothy Fitzgerald, ERB's too watered down by media for proper respect for $2. Thank you very much, Timothy. I appreciate that. And that's a healthy opinion right there. Nicholas Gear is saying King Cole.
I'm seeing a few Coles. Yeah.
Red Sonja. Well, Marcus Killergoose questioning Red Sonja. I don't really believe is a Howard creation, but we count her because she became part of the Conan canon through the comics and stuff. So we're counting that, and stuff in the movies too that weren't necessarily in the books. But we got to give ourselves some flexibility so we have some choices. Yeah, here we go. Another one. Hojo says, yes, draw Grace Jones holding an alligator over her head like a boss. Skullmaster says Queen of the Black Coast.
Yeah.
Black Agnes, which sounds to me like that's a witch or something. You got another Red Sonja here. Yeah. Oh, Shane Todd, look at that. Hello, Aaron, from one of your past students. Oh my gosh, Shane. Thank you for joining us. How about that? Yeah, I used to teach a comic book class in the 90s at the Northwest Art Center here in Portland, or something like that. What is it called? Oh. Northwest College of Art. And it was like an extension program. And I had a bunch of youngsters in there that are now oldsters. And one of my students actually ended up going to, not that I'm taking any credit for it, but went to Rhode Island School of Design and ended up Angus MacLean. He's at Pixar. He's been there for years and actually directed the last Buzz Lightyear movie, which didn't do that well, but sorry, just calling it. But that doesn't. Right. I hadn't seen it, but he did do the Halloween special. If you saw that, where the toys got stuck in a motel, it was kind of a Bates Motel thing a couple years ago. That was kind of cool. Marby Dog for $2. Thank you so much. John Buscema's art is the Conan I see in my mind.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. Here, let's see what Frazetta maybe.
Oh, hey now.
Maybe Frazetta's got something. Oh, it's probably the wrong book for them.
Yeah. Hey. Let's see here. Got some more Red Sonjas.
So yeah, she seems like she's winning out. Red
Sonja it is.
Thulsa Doom. You got Belit in there, Queen of the Black Coast. There's a lot of chick, there's some villains in there, but there's a lot of pushing for the women. So, dude, I would I'd go with your instinct and go ahead and do Red Sonja, man. We're giving it to you. We're serving it up to you on a platter.
Do Red Sonja fighting Grace Jones.
Yeah, hey.
And color it.
I'm a huge fan of Frank Thorne, who kind of made a name for himself on Red Sonja. So I know a bit about that from those books, but not. I've never read them
on Red.
Oh yeah, well I colored your Red Sonja. You muted yourself, by the way. There you go.
Elongated Musket says I like redheads, so this is kind of fixed. So seems to be pushing that direction, right?
I think David accidentally unplugged his mic.
Well,
and I think it automatically goes to mic off. There you go.
He's back. Or at least his maybe his voice should be back. Let me do a quick public service announcement, and we'll get drawing. You guys, first of all, if you're new here, welcome and thank you for joining us. This is the most exciting and the most entertaining and the highest quality draw stream on the internet. And I'm just saying it. I don't care if it's true or not. And but we're here to produce some quality stuff for you guys. So thank you for joining us. If you're new here, please hit the like. Please hit the subscribe if you haven't subscribed to this channel. And you can also hit the notifications button because they tell me that's helpful. So we appreciate you guys' attendance. We appreciate you guys checking this out, and we appreciate your support. Also, real quickly, I have a campaign called Wraith of God Blood Hunters. The link for it is in the description of this video, where you can find not only the comic, which is a 100-page comic for $25, kind of a Batman monster hunter of the Old West, very cool concept. But I do have these Empire Comics logo hats available right now. They ship out as soon as you order. Also, I have beanies that say Wraith of God on them. We have shot glasses. We all sorts of like crazy little merch to go along with the comic if you guys are interested in any of that. Also, nice. David Williams is working on a book called Bass Reeves, West of Hell. The link for that is in the description of this campaign. And that, of course, takes the historical Marshal Bass Reeves and with a little bit of a twist into it. And it's really some phenomenal stuff. No one knows what Kelsey's doing. He was working on a book called Norse Saga. If you go to
working on Nexus.
You're working on Nexus right now.
Yeah, finishing up two different books of Nexus. One of them we're crowdfunding the rest of the story with the Nexus triplet story that we started, I think, last year. And so we're going to be finishing that up. And there's one for Dark Horse. And then after that, I'm doing my own book, hopefully coming out around April, May time. So you'll be seeing more about that. Yeah,
we're going to start pumping that here pretty soon. Do you have anything you want to share from that?
Nothing new. Nothing really new. Yeah, I've been teasing it out. If you follow me at Comic Kelsey on Instagram, Comic Kelsey on Twitter, Comic Kelsey on YouTube. I'm Comic Kelsey everywhere. You can find me, and I'll be teasing stuff out and hanging out. So subscribe.
There you do. There you go. This feels like a false accusation. A guy in his room says, Aaron trying to compete with Ethan and Malin's ego. I don't see that at all.
There is no competition.
I don't know what he's talking about. Movie Dog, Aaron, would you consider drawing an older King Conan? I would consider it, but I'm not going to do it. I am committed to my Solomon Kane, and that's where I'm going on this one. But
it's kind of in your wheelhouse right now, the way you're drawing.
Yeah, and he's a guy that fights monsters, right? So it's perfect, right up my alley. King Conan, though, if I'm going to draw a king, I'm going Cole. See, that was my. Did you have? Okay, hang on a second. Let me start. Let's get this ball rolling. I don't know where David is. Again, I think this is some sort of Muhammad Ali psych out thing. But we're going to start drawing. Kelsey and I are, and David, if he's fooling around, he's going to pay the price.
Messing around with his audio, and it's all over.
Yep, exactly. So let me switch cameras here, and then I will ask you this question, Kelsey. Let me share this real quick. I forgot this was on my table. I am working on the cover to the second printing of Wraith of God graphic novel, because that is sold out.
Full screen. Go full screen.
Except for a couple. Okay, except for a couple Esther covers comics that are still there. Once those are gone, though, this goes up as a campaign, and I'm working on the cover.
Nice.
So we have the werewolf, we have Esther, we have the Wraith reaching for his gun. Can't really see there. His hand is grabbing his midsection. He's going to be ripped open, a little bloody there. So he's in trouble. So this will be the cover to the second printing. And I will get that done this week, at least the inked version, and start coloring it so I can get this campaign up and running by the end of the month.
Do you color your own stuff?
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah, I do. My covers, anyway. Cool. I don't interiors, man. It just takes me too long. So
I'm hearing David. There's something happening.
There's something happening. There he is. Okay, he's back. Okay, so it's definitely David.
He's filing down the rough edges on his microphone there.
That's right. You got to get out that metal file and start grinding away to make sure you get the softest sound possible. All right. This is kind of fun. What size are you working, Kelsey, about? What size is that paper?
I think this is 9 by 12. 9 by 12.
Okay, and I'm going 11 by 14, and David goes 11 by 17. So it's just like this sort of pyramid of paper size here.
Well, I mean, it really just I think it just depends on how you like your line quality to appear, and I like the way my rendering and lines look when they're drawn smaller, but comic book size is way too small.
Aaron, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
He can't hear us, I think. I think that might be the case.
Why is technology such a challenge for us?
Let me tell you, I was in a blind fury earlier because I have all these wires going everywhere. I only have so many ports, so I got to unplug this and plug that in. My keyboard and my trackpad thing are both dead, so I'm having to alternate the cord from one to another. They don't seem to charge fast enough, so I'm not really sure what to do. And then my computer wouldn't see my camera, so I had to restart, which means I had to do 2-step verifications on everything. I was in a mad rage. Yeah, so technology. I'm not digging.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, my audio was out for a minute. I couldn't hear you guys.
Yeah. You're back.
You're back
Right.
and better than ever. All right, gentlemen, we have stalled long enough. You got 2 hours. The clock starts right now.
Man.
I have a technical question for Kelsey.
Oh yeah.
Gary Martin wanted to know, what kind of cameras do you use?
Oh, this one is a Sony A7 S2 or something like that. Maybe. I had the A7S1. It's like one of the best low light cameras. Like all I have is this one light here, and even that seems to be too much. But that and I have like an old Olympus pen from like way back that I want to use for my face cam, so that I can have this always set up and then have like another camera. And I have another A7S as well. These are about $1,000, I think, a little under 1,000.
Okay.
But then the rig I have.
Oh, whoa! Your camera's $1,000?
Yeah, but it's a DSLR. It's like a real camera. So I make movies with it, and
That's what I was going to say. Kelsey makes movies.
What kind of movies?
Well, short films and stuff. I put a few on my channel. Nothing major. Just having fun with it, really. But I really wanted to learn. I started with like a cheap snapshot camera. It's like it's called a Canon Digital Elf. It was like about this big, and it was really easy to take pictures. And before that, I was developing film and spending money on developing, and I was like,
they don't even do that anymore.
I don't know if they do. I don't think they do, but I have met this German guy at a convention, and he had this little camera, and I was like, man, if I can get one of those, I can master the snapshot, just take as many photos as I want. And it helped me with my composition and stuff a lot, being able to frame a shot really quickly. But then I moved up to, the next step, but I kind of stopped from there. I was like, I've done about as much as I can do without getting into some serious stuff.
So do you have like editing programs and stuff you use?
Just Premiere Pro. I've got the whole Adobe. Adobe is currently raking me over the coals for monthly fees for all their trash, and it's not even that great. So,
I know. It's like they finally figured it out how to really stick it to us, right? It's like,
yeah,
we used to have to buy.
That good. It's so glitchy now.
Yeah, I know. It used to be, you have to buy Photoshop for $650 or whatever it was, but it could last you for like 10 years. And now it's like, no, we're just going to take $30 a month per program from you every month.
So I'm right there with David with the I'm sick of this technology business. I'm not good. It ain't working with me. It's in my way, is the way I put it nowadays. It's like, you're supposed to be like helping me. Now you're just in my way.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, look, I had better reception on my phone back when I had dial-up, or rotary phone. Now it's like, can you hear me? Now it's staticky, or I got, no, it's everything is worse now. Cartoons are worse. Movies are worse. It's bad. I'm finally hitting old age where like everything is
yeah, they're becoming the legend that we all need to be.
Everything pisses me off.
I'm finally I'm appropriately here on the Graybeard'S show now. I fit right in now.
All right, so here was my first real question for you guys was, what was your first exposure to like Robert E. Howard stuff, whether it be Conan or Red Sonja or whatever the character might be. Did you guys ever read any of the books, or was it just the comics, or did
Mine
you
was
just kind of
the comics.
The comics were your first introduction to that?
Yeah.
Which one?
Conan.
No, I mean, like, do you remember which issue or anything? Was it one of the magazines?
It was one of the magazines.
Yeah.
When I saw that, and I mean, that was probably some of the first black and white I just paid attention to and just gave it any kind of like credence. And when I was just like, oh, you know, it stopped me in my tracks. And so that's what made me buy those and then go back to the color stuff. You know, it was like a weird thing. It was in reverse. You know, most people go to the color comics, but I saw these magazines and I was like, what the heck is this? You know?
God, yeah, I remember seeing that those Rudy Nebris inks when I checked those out. Blew me away.
Yeah.
I first saw I got to say probably my earliest exposure was the Frazetta Conan paperback books, right? I never read them. I bought them because, and I might have read a story or two, but I mean, I'm talking like when I was little, you know, like 8 or 9 years old, I would see these, you go to the bookstore, right? And then you'd see all these Conan Frazetta paperbacks, and you're just like, God, these are so cool. You didn't even really know what they were. And, but my first exposure was to actually reading this stuff was probably the Conan issues, because we had this group of kids in our neighborhood that were collectors, and we would all, you know, we all agreed not to collect the same stuff, so we wouldn't be fighting each other for when we went to like to get back issues and stuff at these old bookstores that we used to go to in Portland that had the back issues. So we weren't fighting over the same stuff, except, well, me and one of the kids both liked Spider-Man, and he was bigger than me, so he usually won that fight. But other than that, everybody kind of did their own thing. And one of the guys collected Conan and Fantastic Four, so he had all the Barry Smith Conan. So we would, you know, flip through those. But it was after that. But I never bought them, right? I just kind of looked at his. But I saw King Cole by Severin. So it was Maurice Severin pencils and John Severin inks. And man, that's the one I gravitated to and just absolutely loved those. And so then when Cole and the Barbarians, which was a 3-issue magazine from Marvel that basically featured King Cole, Solomon Kane, it had like Alan Weiss, and there was some, I think, Krusty Bunkers in there, Neil Adams gang inking, some Solomon Kane stuff, and there was Chaykin Red Sonja in there. And so I bought those, and that's how I kind of got exposure to those, to Solomon, my first exposure to Solomon Kane. And then I went back and would started buying the paperbacks later and started reading that stuff a little bit. And so, yeah, I was comics too, at least in terms of reading. And it you know, I'm older than you guys, but it was like in the early to mid 70s when comics were really, superheroes were kind of falling off and they were really kind of struggling for sales. Marvel was looking, you know, just for anything, right? And that's when they started doing the Barbarian books. They started doing the Sword and Sorcery, the fantasy, the monster books, the karate books, just to try and get keep the audience interested. And so that's what I grew up right in the middle of that stuff. So Lord of the Rings was having a big revival at that time. And so I'm still, you know, my favorite stuff is the fantasy stuff above the superhero stuff, because that was just like right at the core of what I was getting to see when I was growing up.
Well, I think the first Robert E. Howard stuff I saw was a movie with Kevin Sorbo called Cole the Conqueror. I think Tia Carrera was in it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's not my first time.
Oh. Well, I remember that movie because they had that one great line where Cole had just had sex with this, I guess it was Tia Carrera that was like the witch or whatever. And she was like, you know, 800 years old. And he goes, 800 years old? She told me she was 18, you know. So
That joke works on many levels.
Yeah, exactly. So,
No, first one was Conan, obviously. John Milius,
yeah.
the great John Milius movie, along with, oddly enough, written by, or adapted rather. I guess written. That's not an original, or that's an original story, I guess. But what's his name?
James Earl Jones.
No. He didn't write it. He's in it.
Oh,
Plays Thulsa Doom.
No, Milius wrote it.
No, I mean he may have rewritten it, because he's such a great writer himself. But Oliver Stone actually wrote.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I totally forgot that. You are absolutely correct. I apologize
blows my
for
mind.
acting like I knew what I was talking about.
How dare you? But no, it blows my mind that I mean that guy's very talented. Obviously, I mean everybody thinks of him as the political guy or whatever, but like his earlier movies, had a lot of different kinds of stuff. So, that was my first time, and I remember seeing that in the theater when I was a little kid. My mom took me to see it, which she still regrets to this day.
Yeah.
She regrets it about the time where his mom's head gets chopped off right at the beginning.
Yeah, that was like 5 minutes into the movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, she's like, "Oh Lord, I've made a mistake." But I loved it. I was like, "Yeah,
show me more carnage."
Yeah, well, I mean, it was definitely influential. I mean, not that it changed me. I mean, it was just a really interesting movie. I don't know. I really loved it. Some of the things confused me, like the witch scene and like the snake stuff. Really, that's probably what was most like traumatizing to me as a kid was when I think even more so than when he turns into the snake is when he takes the snake and he forms it into an arrow.
Yeah,
shoots it at the daughter of the king.
That freaked me out when I was a kid.
It still kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Well, what ticked me off about that movie is that Thulsa Doom is a King Cole villain, and they co-opted him into this movie, and it kind of ticked me off because I was like, me being the purist, right? And because there's really like Thoth Amon is a great wizard villain for Conan, and I was like, well, why didn't they just use him, and keep it true? But I guess maybe they like the whole lizard men story arc from Cole, which was, I don't know where it fits into the books, but in the comics, it was the second, the Serpent Men is what they were called, and it was great story.
It is odd that they added
2 and 3. Go ahead.
I mean, it is odd that they added him because that was one of the things that they were trying to do is not have any magic, mystical elements. They wanted it to be like as real, as realistic as possible. But then they have the whole, I guess, because there's a plausible deniability, I guess. But they actually show him transforming, so you can't really can't say there's no magic. He literally transforms.
Yeah, into a snake. Now, World of Conan, and I'm just gonna take, because he's bold enough to call himself World of Conan that he knows what he's talking about. Says, but Thulsa Doom is thousands upon thousands of years old, so he could easily have been alive during Conan's time as well as Cole's. Well, there you go, because Cole predates Conan. So,
is it the same universe?
Yeah, he's like Cole was from Atlantis before it sunk, or was during that period of time, and I think he's actually, where was he from?
But in the movie, they talk about Conan at the beginning in the time. When oceans drink Atlantis, right? Okay, or I thought it was before the oceans drank Atlantis. In a time undreamed of.
Well, then see, now they're taking liberties again. Now you're pissing me off, Kelsey. You're giving me information that I don't want to hear.
I could be wrong though. Chat might have.
Well, yeah, World of Conan would know,
Yeah.
or at least he would tell us he knows.
Yeah, that's
But it wasn't really the shtick with that was everybody just wanted to see Arnold, right? I mean, that was kind of the.
Well, no, I mean nobody knew who he was back then.
Well, yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, I knew because I followed bodybuilding.
Oh,
and we were like, "Oh yeah, Arnold!
No,
This is
that's
gonna
not
be
weird.
awesome!" You know,
that's something everybody does.
Yeah.
No, I you know, I mean, I think that was after Terminator, right?
No,
Before.
No, before.
it was before
Conan
Terminator.
was before Terminator.
Yeah, it was like his
Oh,
first
yeah.
big break, man.
Okay, because I'm pretty sure that's the first time I ever saw him was Terminator. A friend of mine had a
I mean, I saw him when he played
video cassette.
Hercules.
Oh, really?
Hey, that's not a memorable performance there.
You watched that like when you were young?
Yeah.
Was it like was it Hercules in New York or something like that?
Yeah.
It was something goofy, right? It wasn't just Hercules; it was Hercules in New
Yeah.
York.
Yep.
Yeah, fighting like a guy in a gorilla suit and pretty funny.
Yeah, that was the good old days in America where you could get a starring role in a movie just because you're jacked.
Well, he had a lot of personality too. You know,
That's true.
charisma, as what they say.
Seemed like every bodybuilder of that era played Hercules at some point.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah, didn't Lou Ferrigno did too, didn't he?
Yep.
Paul Taylor, our resident biologist, says Arnold was on an episode of Streets of San Francisco, played a bodybuilder who killed a girl for laughing at him. Oh. Arnold. Now we have to go search that out on YouTube, right? I'm a killer.
How dare you laugh at me?
Yeah.
It's all
Don't laugh at
muscle.
my tiny package.
Yeah.
Why would you laugh at Arnold? I mean, he's pretty jacked, man. She say you're still not big enough? I mean, what did she say? I don't know. Now that was the only reason I watched Arnold movies, because he was so jacked, and I was so into bodybuilding, and I was like, he was like looking at a superhero. You're like, look at that guy's muscles. How is that even real? You know, go and watch movies like Raw Deal and
Oh yeah, that's one of my faves.
watch him just walk around in that wife beater tank top, blasting the mob or whatever he was doing. I don't even remember what he was doing, just killing people.
I'm surprised you probably remember the original Raw Deal, right? Like,
I'm not sure what you're implying.
the one from the 40s. What is it?
Was that a remake?
Man, you're old.
Was that a remake? I had no idea.
I don't know if it's a remake of that exactly. It definitely stole the name, Raw Deal.
That's something I don't understand. We have such issues with copyright in like comics and stuff, and yet you see movies all the time are constantly reusing the same names.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know if it's the same studio or if they just like, yeah, whatever, I'm calling it this. What are you going to do about it?
They probably work out some kind of deal, or it's, there's probably not, unless it's like a remake,
Right.
Just, I don't know if they can copyright the name Raw Deal. Like I could technically go do a comic right now called Raw Deal, as long as it has nothing to do with any other Raw Deal that exists.
That's I'm actually, these are just like bizarre. Copyright is the weirdest thing, because I sort of dealing with that a little bit with my nightclub property, because Mark Millar came out with something called The Nightclub, which is a vampire comic, and mine came out first, but it wasn't on its own. It was it was just some characters appearing in the Garbage Man trade paperback. But the name was used, and that's what they called themselves. And so we had a I don't know if I should be talking about this or not, but we had a discussion. With Netflix, and it was kind of like, you don't own that, and well, you don't, and we're like, well, you don't own it, but nothing really got resolved. So I don't know if there's really, if they're two different things. It's kind of what I got out of it. It's like, yeah, you go your way, we'll go ours, kind of thing. So,
Well, these days it's who can last longest in court.
right.
You
Well,
know,
it
they
all comes
really
down to money. I mean, if someone wants
right,
to play hardball with me, I'm done because I got
right.
no money. But at this point, I'm going forward with what I'm doing, and the heck with it. So we shall see.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, I think like I had I've had several ideas that had super. Like David knows what one I was messing with for ages called Super Fight, which was
Mhm.
just like a one shot that had like these two dumb superheroes like duking it out over who's the best. And meanwhile, there's like an old guy feeding pigeons in the park, and he's like God. He's like the mightiest of them all. And they destroy the world, and he's like, what a couple of a-holes, and he reforms it and goes about his day. But I knew I was going to have trouble with calling it super anything because
Right.
they own the name super in regards to putting super somebody.
Well, no, wait a minute. Is it superhero or is it just super?
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. But then Robert Kirkman came out with a card game called Super Fight. So I don't know. And I just dropped it after that. I'm like, well, Kirkman's got
I
it.
think the superhero is the issue.
Yeah, okay. So you can have super limousine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I could do finally I could do my sequel to
Super
what's
super
that?
car wash. Super.
Yeah,
limousine.
I was gonna
Oh.
say the big bus. My sequel to the big bus called Super Bus.
I
Love that
remember
movie.
that movie, The Big Bus.
I love those dumb movies.
I know it's like the
Zuckerberg.
70s. The 70s produced some really weird movies.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Pretty weird time. I've actually gone back and like checked out all the movies from when I was born. In 1975 is when I was born, and there was some good stuff actually. I can't remember it offhand, but I think things like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and things like that. I did have some like good ones in there.
Do you
Well,
remember the first movie you went to in a theater?
I do.
Conan.
Wow. I mean, what a great start. Mine was was My Side of the Mountain, which is a Walt Disney movie where this kid runs away from
Whoa.
home and sort of lives out in the woods.
Yeah,
But I was young. I mean, I was like first grade or something. So, we didn't want to do anything that was,
that's actually a good point. I did go see some movies when I was a real little kid, so it probably wouldn't Conan. My mom used to send me to. There's like a little local theater that would play Bedknobs and Broomsticks and things like that. So probably the first thing I saw was like Disney's Jungle Book or something like that. Probably a repeat, not the original, of course.
Jetta Jaga says 1975. Hail. So there you go.
Hello.
Paul Taylor, Star Crash with David Hasselhoff and Christopher Plummer. Hasselhoff's first movie. Terrible acting. I don't know if he's just warning us or if that's what he went and saw.
Well, that also has the wonderful Caroline Munro, one of my favorite B movie queens.
Yes. Oh yeah. She was in. She was in Dracula with Cushing.
Dracula. Yeah, Dracula 1977 or something like that. So,
yeah. She was wasn't she a Bond girl too? With
she was a Bond girl. She was also in one of my favorite Ray Harryhausen. What was it? It was Sinbad. It was one of the Sinbad movies. Yeah. That's the first time I ever saw her on TV, and I was like, "Who is that?" And then, of course, back in our day, you see it on TV, you'll never see it again. You're like, "Who was that?" It's not a TV guide. You're like, you have no idea. What was it called again?
Yeah, exactly. I remember that. It was like it's like the Golden Voyage or Seventh Voyage of Sinbad.
Something like that. Yeah.
Was that the one that had like John Wayne's son played? Patrick Wayne played Sinbad. Was that the one?
Oh, I wonder.
That was John Wayne's son?
Yeah, I didn't know that. Let me look that up real quick. I think it was seven voyages of Sinbad or something like that.
The Seventh Voyage or something. Yeah.
Yes.
They used to make those like in the 70s. There was like several of those came out, but with different actors as Sinbad. I used to love those things. Get like you said, because they had the Harryhausen stuff.
They produced those just for him to do his thing. Like they wouldn't even exist otherwise. I don't think. There was like a whole thing where he and his partner, business partner, would just come up with ideas for that would look good with the stop motion. Okay, it's not the Seventh Voyage. Is somebody saying in chat now? Golden Voyage. Okay,
Golden Voyage. Okay,
it might be Golden Voyage that she's in.
It's like somebody, wasn't it like John Philip Law or somebody like that? Wasn't he one of those? No, I'm going to look it up because it's driving me nuts.
Okay, that's this one. John Philip Law is in Golden Voyage of Sinbad. That's the one with Caroline Munro.
Okay.
Yeah. He's real handsome. He looks like one of those Italian guys with the bright blue eyes or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know him from anything else though. John Philip Law. Like what do I know him from?
Sinbad.
Is that it?
I think so.
Oh, he was in Barbarella.
He has a great name, but it's like, what was he ever in, right?
Oh, he was in Danger Diabolique. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. He does. He's been in Italian movies. That's they love their blue eyes over there.
Let's see here. Yeah, Patrick Wayne was Sinbad in Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger. That was also a Stallone movie. So it was a.
I wonder if they have like a
joke, son.
Box set of all those. Yeah, okay, I gotcha.
Oh, wait a minute.
Like
He
a
was
hand grenade.
okay. Hang on a second. He was with Jane Seymour. How about that?
Oh,
Yeah, he was in
Good
the one
for
with
him.
Jane Seymour.
oh, I thought you meant he was with her. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
good
well,
for
he
you.
might have. It's Hollywood, man. He might have. He might have been. Let me. I'll pull this up real quick so you guys can see. So here we have Patrick Wayne with Jane Seymour in Eye of the Tiger.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go. Very young Jane Seymour.
Oh, let me see. I missed it. Oh, too late. Oh, yeah. Wow. Gosh, she still looked. I mean, she looked like that pretty much her entire career. I don't think
I
she
know.
ever got old. Yeah, she never looked old.
Even when she was in that Medicine Woman movie.
Yeah,
or
Dr.
TV
Quinn,
show.
Medicine Woman.
Yeah,
she
she
looked great
still
in
looked
that.
good. Yeah. Time After Time with Christopher Reeve. That was actually for a romance movie. That was a pretty good movie.
Somewhere in Time. Yeah.
Yeah, Somewhere in Time. Yeah.
Love that movie.
Paul-
Yeah.
Paul Taylor, $10 Canadian. Thank you so much, Paul. He says, I hear you had a birthday recently. Happy birthday. I hope at some point you do a Burrow stream too. Oh, we'll get to that at the end of the show. I have a plan. It may not seem like it, but I do have a plan. Thank you for that, Paul, very much. Eric Winberg for $2. What's up, guys? David, good to see you on the stream.
Aaron don't take a dump without having a plan.
That's right. I've always got a plan, and then I wait for it to fall apart. World of Conan for $2. Ooh, that's like 2 pounds. He's from is he from from Great Britain, from England? You missed my earlier super chat, Aaron. So he's paying me to remind me that I didn't read his first super chat. That's the way I work it. Right?
It's America.
Yeah.
We'll convert those pounds into something usable. Don't worry.
Well, pounds, actually, that's better than $2.
Oh
my goodness. There it is. Oh, this is a huge one. For 10 pounds. Thank you, World of Conan. Sorry I missed that, but here we're getting it right now. Milius liked Cole more than Conan. Conan was more known. Okay, got it. Might be the reason why Thulsa Doom is in the movie. Also, it's between the time when oceans drank Atlantis and the rise of the sons of Arias, Kelsey.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
get
okay.
your
That's why I was
freaking
asking.
story straight. Jeez.
That's why I was asking. I knew Chad would know.
Okay. All right. But don't you think, and I don't know how familiar you guys are with King Cole, but I always liked the idea that you had this barbarian king who couldn't just be a barbarian. He had to be responsible for the people that he governed or that he ruled over. And I always liked that kind of, that sort of struggle between his roots, where he came from, and the position that he was then in. And of course, he was in a precarious position because people wanted to off him so they could take the throne. But you don't just take the throne from Cole, okay? That's not an easy thing. So, but that's why I always liked him. To me, Conan was just, he was a barbarian. He was a thief. He did what barbarians do. But Cole, I thought, was a little bit more complex. So there you go. That's my. I'm done for today. See you guys later.
Well, didn't Conan become king as well? Like
he did eventually, yeah. When his older age, he was like. That's why someone said they trying to talk me into drawing King Conan.
Yeah.
The older version there. Because you remember. Go ahead. I was just going to say at the end of the Conan movie, remember they have that shot of Arnold with a beard and he's sitting on the throne.
I always waited for a follow-up to that.
Yep. David, look at David, man. He's Conaning out on us. He's moving along. He's going to ink this today.
We'll see.
We have an hour and a half left. There's no excuse for David not to ink this.
It's a total excuse.
I'm sure he'll come up with something.
Paul Taylor saying King of Aquilonia, largest country in the region. That was what Conan ended up being, was the king of Aquilonia.
What's funny is like when you start studying history and also hidden history, the stuff that they're discovering more and more now, like the cities over under the oceans that they're finding, and you start realizing that he might have been right, because like there's this old story about Robert E. Howard said that when he was writing Conan, he felt like Conan was standing over him, threatening to kill him if he didn't write his story. So if you think about that in regards to like if all that was true, like maybe the spirit of Conan was he's a real thing, and he demanded his story be told, because there's no history.
That's a movie in and of itself.
It is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Be like Dragon, the Bruce Lee story, but for Robert E. Howard.
Yeah. That would be cool to do a story like that, where it's like, is he crazy? Is he not? And he's like, it's almost like Play It Again, Sam, except it's with Conan.
Yeah.
Robert E. Howard.
I think that'd be great. I'd watch it.
Yeah, I would too.
All right. If you pay for it, I'll make it.
All right. One slick dude says Jane Seymour's earliest movie was Live and Let Die. So she was a Bond girl too, from 73. Yeah. And Sinbad Eye of the Tiger was 4 years later in 77. So there you go.
Live and Let Die.
I never liked Roger Moore. Never did.
Well, he was my Bond when I was a kid. So I have an affinity for him, but he's not my favorite. Yeah.
Sean Connery for me was always the coolest. I thought, I actually kind of thought Pierce Brosnan really fit the mold really well for Bond.
Yeah. Oh, Pierce was great. Actually, I really enjoyed his Bond. From the moment the GoldenEye came on and they did that great song by Tina Turner, GoldenEye. Like I don't know if that's necessarily a great Bond theme, but that was a great Bond opener with all the women and the gold and the Russian symbolism and all that stuff. It's like, oh, this is cool. And then they did a great intro with him where they held back, you just see his feet running in, and jumping off of the dam, and that long dive down the dam where he pulls out the gun and catches himself just in time. And then you don't see him until it's kind of silly, but you don't see him until he's upside down in a bathroom stall and he's about to punch out a Russian soldier. But I'm like, oh, it's a little undignified him being in a stall with this guy while he's taking a dump. But
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, man. When you're a secret agent.
Yeah, I like Roger Moore's stuff because some of those movies are some of the biggest Bond movies, and I remember just loving. I can't watch them now much, but like I love Jaws, the villains and the
Moonraker
and the silliness of it all. And one of my favorite, yeah. I loved all the Bond movies for different reasons. Like Octopussy, I loved a lot because, the name. But then did
your mom take you to that?
No, I saw that one on my own. But no, he had an alligator submarine in that. And it was just big enough for one person, and he was able to. I used to draw that when I was a kid. I was like, man, I want an alligator a submarine that looks like an alligator so bad. But I'm honestly my favorite Bond movie of that time, and it's still kind of in my top 5. Is what is it? Oh man, the one with Grace Jones.
He's on in San Francisco.
Yeah, it
That
has
wasn't Live and Let Die. It was View to a Kill. View to a Kill.
Yeah, View to a Kill with the great theme song, and it's got Christopher Walken, as a Bond villain. You understand the concept of James Bond.
Didn't Duran Duran sing this theme song?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's funny because it's not a great. You watch it back, and it's like it's super long. It's really a long movie, or it feels like it. And there's
which is not a good thing, especially if it isn't.
Yeah, and so I still love it, but it's by far very far from the best Bond film. But I like a lot of my favorite ones aren't necessarily great Bond films. Like I love the Roger Moore one with Christopher Lee, where he's like, it was the man with the golden gun, right?
Oh, was that the first Roger Moore one?
It might have been, yeah.
It was either that or Live and Let Die. And I remember hearing this on a classic rock station that they said that they went to McCartney to record Live and Let Die, but he would only do it if he got to sing the lead, and they didn't want him to sing it because they'd never had a male sing a Bond theme song before. He'd always had female vocalists. So apparently he was the first male, because he wouldn't do it unless he could perform it, and so he was the first. I guess it was Wings. It was Paul McCartney and Wings probably that did that, and and so he was the first male lead singer for a Bond theme, I guess.
Oh, interesting.
I assume that's true.
Richard Gradwell says Live and Let Die was Roger Moore's first. Yeah. Speaking of which.
Eric Winberg for $2 says Aaron's improv show is toasty today. I don't know if he means we're getting if we're getting a little
spicy.
We're getting a little spicy in our conversation, or if he's talking about the art. Fotrius Perellis says Kelsey's drawing boobs, he wins. Or would if it was a competition, which it isn't.
That's right. Unless you win.
That's right, unless I win. It's only a competition when I win. Weirdest villain kill is in Live and Let Die. Now, see, I don't remember, so someone's going to have to refresh me on exactly how he died.
That's when he exploded.
Really?
I forget his name. The black guy who was in Alien, I think it's Yaphet Kotto. Yeah, I love that guy. But I think it was him. I think he blew up and I can't remember. Like it was something stupid. Like they put an air hose in his mouth or something. Something dumb like that.
Yeah.
Well, it's I guess it's original, right? I mean,
yeah. Running Man, also great Yaphet Kotto flick. He got robbed in that one though. He had to wear that.
Wait a minute. Yaphet Kotto was in Running Man. Was he one of the one of the guys who were running?
Yeah, he was one of the guys running, and he got robbed because they had to stick him in that suit, that skin tight yellow suit that they wore. I was like, oh man, my man should not be wearing that suit.
Yeah, he was in the best shape. He wasn't like Arnold,
Yeah, I loved him in this movie. Gosh, what was it? Robert De Niro played a bounty hunter. Midnight Run. Yeah.
Oh my, that is such a great movie.
And he kept stealing Yaphet Kotto's glasses or his badge, and then he would use it. And he's like, I thought you were white. He's like, that's not me. He stole it. It's all mad.
Charles Grodin. That may be Charles Grodin's best performance.
It is. Can't stand that guy, but I do like him in that movie. He's appropriate.
So funny. That's a Martin Brest film, in case anybody's interested.
Yeah.
And look, it is. I mean, the swearing is off the charts on it. I mean, if you're sensitive to the F-bombs, you don't want to see it, but it is so freaking funny. It is a great movie.
It's definitely one of the first times I'd heard the F word that many times in a movie.
Well, it's like De Niro. It's like every other word, you know?
Yeah. But great flick. I'm surprised you know the director of that. You're I forget you're a movie guy. I rarely run into people that like know what I'm talking about at the time. The chat always knows.
The chat always knows.
Yeah.
No matter what we're talking about.
They're pretty savvy.
No. Can't
Speaking of chat, you should be promoting something to the chat.
Like what? Oh, Wraith the God?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's, you know.
Yeah, you shouldn't be drawing. You should be promoting. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you guys? You trying to distract me is what you're trying to do. But yeah, I'll go the campaigns real quick. I have them booted up. I'm always prepared. I'm like a Boy Scout, even though I never was a Boy Scout.
Be sure to go over every detail so we know.
Every tier.
No. We'll just visit real quick here. This is Wraith of God Blood Hunters. It's the sequel to the hit Wraith of God graphic novel from last year. This time around, the Wraith and Esther, his partner, are going up against Count Korvac, who's a very sort of a Nosferatu-y looking vampire. And he has a lot of brides he's collected from the town. So the odds are stacked against our heroes, but I promise you good times will be had by all. And there's also 3, not 2, 3 backup stories in here. So you're going to get the Return of Garbage Man. You're going to get the Return of the Nightclub. And you're going to get the debut of Kit Carter. So a lot of good stuff in this at a great value. And there's also a bunch of extra stuff like shot glasses, baseball caps, beanies, T-shirts. The T-shirts end in at the end of this month. So if you especially want that Dale Keown Bloody Werewolf shirt, get your orders in before the 31st. Here's a quick look at the covers. There's 4 cover options. Bisley, I got Bisley to do a painting for me.
Oh, fun, man.
I bought the original from him. He still hasn't shipped it to me. He's ticking me off, but
he ain't going anywhere.
That's true. There's my wraparound cover, which is the cover A version. There's the Tales of Suspense cover, which features our backup stories. Garbage Man and Nightclub, and then the tribute to Tomb of Dracula #1. We got the old Marvel-esque logo and everything for fun, and so those are your 4 cover options. Here's some colored interiors from the first 3 pages. There's some Garbage Man. Dan Lawless will be coloring that. The Night of the Living Jed is the name of the story. It's a zombie story, so you don't want to miss that. And then we have Kit Carter, Galactic Ranger, which I will be coloring this myself. Unless I'm so far behind I can't. But my goal is to color this as well.
What is this? Is this a new thing?
Actually, it's probably the oldest property I have. I just haven't done anything with it. I needed a character for a sketchbook cover several years ago. And so I came up with this sort of 50s sci-fi, sort of parody type thing. Yeah. And then I just started using the character. I would make faux 50s movie poster type things. It'd be like Kit Carter versus the Astro Zombies, that type of thing. Yeah. And people kept seeing it and are like, "Is this a comic?" And I'm like, "No, it's just a gag." And they're like, "Is this a comic?" And it just kept going on and on. And when's this going to be a comic? And it's just like people are like, "When are you going to do a comic?" And so I finally did a series of kind of like daily strips, but I did them in comic book format so that the page format is comic book size. It's not like it's not formatted like a newspaper strip, but that's how it's like a Sunday strip, but in, dimensions of a comic book page rather than a newspaper page. And so I did several of these, and I've done 8 of those, and I'm going to do 7 more new ones to finish it out. And so there'll be 15 of these daily strips. They're just called episodes. So it'll be episode 1 through 15. And it's kind of a starter for Kit Carter. And then I'm going to do a graphic novel here of her in regular format, not like newspaper strip style, but just as it would read as a regular graphic novel. So it's it's a fun humor adventure strip, a little sci-fi action, and monsters, of course. Those of you who are backing the campaign or thinking about it, I would highly recommend getting a copy of Wraith of God Roughs Volume 2. This has layouts from the comic itself, so you can kind of peer behind the scene.
Oh, I love that stuff.
At what my page layouts look like, and then you can kind of look at the actual comic and go, okay, this is where he started, this is where he finished. So those are kind of cool to have as well.
Yeah.
So take a look at those. It's only $15, and they come signed and numbered, and they're limited edition, so it's actually a pretty good value. There's your Merv the Astro Chimp. That's Kit's partner. Anybody that signed up early for the campaign during the sign-up stage gets this for free. If you didn't, but you still want one, you can still order one for just $5. And so you guys you're really you got me going here now.
What else you got?
Well, we got these t-shirts here, Kelsey. Now that you mention it, there's the Bloody Dale Keown werewolf shirt that everybody's clamoring for. You also have a Garbage Man t-shirt in 2 colors, and then the which is now the classic Wraith of God black t-shirt as well, very metal looking, as the kids say. So, and then we of course have the Empire Comics hats, and Garbage Man trade paperbacks are still available. Shot glasses. So there's just all sorts of fun stuff on there. So follow the link in the description of this video, and it'll take you right there. Did I waste enough time to give you guys enough of a head start?
Maybe. What other campaigns are out there?
Well, there is David Williams Bass Reeves. So we'll take a quick look at that. And if I
yeah,
can
go
remember.
on. I'm almost done. Go on.
Oh, geez. Boom, let's see here. There it is. Bass Reeves West of Hell, written by Kevin Grievous and illustrated by our own David Williams. There's a couple of versions here, actually. There's a paperback cover that David did, and then there's also the Andrew Robinson painted hardcover. That's
sick.
There's the wraparound paperback by David. There is the hardcover by Andrew Robinson. That is a killer painting as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm told if you find the right spot here, you can get a copy of Nora's Saga by our own Kelsey Shannon in here.
Nice.
Bass plus Nora hardcover pack, the old Outpost wholesale pack, U.S. Marshall Legacy pack. There's all kinds of like packs in here. Oops, didn't want to go there. So anyway, you want to check this campaign out. This has got some killer stuff in it. And David, you're wrapping this up, right? So this is going to be going to press here pretty soon.
Yep.
So it won't be long. And but anyway, the that's put out by Allegiance Arts, our friends over there. So if you the link for that is in the description. I also have a link to Allegiance Arts website, which might give you a little more info on Kelsey's projects or whatever.
Or whatever.
Well, you don't really have anything active at the moment that I can push for you.
Nothing right now. Yeah. I'm a free man right now.
Dude, I got to start inking. I'm gonna get crushed here if I don't get moving.
Oh, you missed a campaign. Actually, you need to.
Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm going to use David's pen recommendation here. Let's see what I can do with this.
Yeah, I need to get one of those. I've been meaning to. Just really slow. I'm a slow mover when it comes to that. But I'm dying to try it out. I'm also slow because, I don't want to like something too much, and then it just goes away. Because
Wait a minute, what do you mean? You don't want to like something too much and then have it just go away? What does that even mean?
Well, like art supplies, like I've had them.
I see. Okay.
I've had art supplies like change, or they'll use a different kind of ink, or just something happens, or they just stopped, using a certain kind. I don't remember the last time I've had a Winsor Newton brush that felt right to me, like it did back in the day.
It used to be so great.
Yeah. So, nowadays, if I do find something, like if I like this pen of David's, I'll probably buy like several boxes.
Well, that's the thing, because they just, I've been using those Kolinsky Raphael Kolinsky brushes, their 8404 series, and they discontinued it.
Oh man,
So
that's
now
what
you
I'm
have to do-
talking about.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. It just pisses me. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. I don't understand why they do that. You got something that works. Quit freaking messing with it.
That's
But I
why
guess
my true love will always just be regular old ink and brush or something like that. Any kind of brush, really. But
well, I mean, that's kind of what we're left with, right? Every time we find a brush we like, they're like, yeah, nope, not going to make it anymore.
yeah, I've learned to be less picky about my brushes because I haven't had one that didn't have some kind of split in it. So in a while, so now I just use that to my advantage. You know, I'll use the split brush for effect. You know, things like that. Or you can get it right. You know, if you water down your inks just right, you can get almost any crap brush to work okay. You just got to work it more carefully. No big swooshes, man. Because I used to be able to just pull a line. You know, like if somebody had like a long leg on a female, you know, I could just like take that brush and just give it the thicks and thins right at the right moment in one stroke. Of course, my hands were a lot steadier back in the day. But now, man, you try that, it'll split on you about halfway through. Suddenly you got two lines there.
Well, that's part of the reason I've gone to the pen is because to me, it's kind of like you're saying you can use any old brush. Well, I think you can use any old pen as long as it's waterproof ink, you know, and archival ink.
Well, even then, you don't really have to have it. I mean, you can get the job done with a Bic pen.
Well, you've seen those incredible pen drawings that Frank Cho does.
Oh God, yeah.
It's just like, geez, man.
Yeah, he's a beast, man.
Yeah.
What the heck's he up to? Anybody know what he's been doing? He's still
Whatever
working on
the-
Marvel trash. What?
I said he's doing whatever he wants.
Oh yeah, he probably drawing boobs of some kind.
Exactly.
Still, you know, the thing about Frank is he still does a lot of commissions and stuff, which I'm sure are not cheap. And he's always doing like he posts stuff on Instagram. It's like a Sherlock Holmes thing or something. Like, dude, what? You know, it's like, where is all this stuff coming from? And but I guess he did like some book illustrations. I mean, he does like all sorts of stuff, right? And then you know, then he does his own art books, and then he'll do a comic book every once in a while or a cover. So, dude's keeping busy.
Yeah, he'll do stuff occasionally where he's like breaking out some new pens, and he drew. I'm like, breaking out new pens. You just used them all. I mean, he'll draw like this piece where it's got all this cross hatching in it. And it's like there can't be any pen left. Breaking in new pens, just killing them. That's it.
Well, how long would you stay with a brush?
I've
Before you
never
bail
gotten
out.
rid of one.
Huh?
I've never gotten rid of one.
Well, I haven't either. I save them all because because if you can't use them for inking, you can use them for watercolor because you don't need to be that, you know.
Right. Watercolor, dry brush effects, all kinds of things. Each brush has like its own little personality that you get used to. And even like the good brushes, you know, you get used to the way they work. And man, it takes forever to kind of break in a new pen or a new brush. Even pens like this one, I got this zebra pen. And I'm like, I don't know if I like it, and I don't know. But then I was drawing on stream, and I had to just go, and I couldn't. I just broke it in. Suddenly, I'm like, oh, you can actually grind this in, man. You can really like give this pen hell, and it actually treats you better after if you like, you know, grind on it a little bit. Just you know, just
Kind of like David was doing on his microphone earlier.
yeah.
But
my paper is kind of rough, so it gives a kind of dry brush effect when you move too fast. So that kind of sucks. But this pad that I'm using is just a cheap $20 200-page art pad I found at Walmart. So
you and your watercolor sets and your
yeah. Well, I want to make art with stuff that people can find at their dollar store. That way, There's no excuses. You know, what tools are you using? You got fancy computers. I got a box of pens, a brush I found at Michael's MJ Designs, and a watercolor set that I wrestled off some kid at grade school. You know, that's so anybody could do it. You know,
Well,
no excuses.
I've kind of adopted that philosophy as well. That it's not the tool; it's how you use it, and that's what she said, right? But
Yeah.
I, like I've used crappy watercolors, I use crappy colored pencils, and then I use nice ones, and it's like you just know what you're using, and you just kind of make it work.
Well, I have gotten some. It is the quality of that. Like I buy every time I go into a dollar store or whatever, I'll see like a little cheap watercolor set, and I'll pick it up and give it a shot. And I saw one that had all these neon colors in it. And I was like, oh man, if that works, that'd be great. Of course it didn't. You know, it was like some of the worst watercolors. They didn't really work. I don't know what the deal was, but there was definitely something going on. It wasn't working. So I had to give them up. Well, that's you got to try, got to test them out.
Well, the neon stuff, I think it's like, hey, here's a set of black light watercolors, and you're like, that probably doesn't work. Probably not gonna work.
Yeah, it didn't, but it sure would have been. I mean, if it did,
yeah,
man, I would have been on. I would have doing black light.
You would have got addicted to it, and then you'd go back, and you couldn't find any more again.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, it's just like this sketchbook I bought, the one I've been using with 200 pages. I'm like, man, it's cheap paper, but man, it takes every bit of punishment I throw at it. It handles watercolors without buckling too bad. It's actually turns out to be really good paper for sketching for sure. And I haven't seen him there since. So I should have bought like several of them when I was there. But
look at this. John Platt, hail to Aaron, Kelsey, the mods in the chats, and he left David out. Wow.
What was that?
Nothing.
David's
Timothy
busy
Fitzgerald says,
grinding.
now that Dale Keown is done with the mail-in cover, maybe he will do something more interesting than Gem Shock. Hopefully, hey, let's just say that Mandy holds the leash on Dale. Huh?
Damn.
Hopefully, the Pit 4 pages is a warm-up.
I'm actually getting to color him on. He's doing a 4-page Gem Shock. I guess Pitt's in it too, maybe.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is supposed to be like the Return of Pitt is in that, right?
Yeah, I think so. But they asked if I would color it. And I'm like, hell yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have time for any of that stuff, but how often do you get the color of Dale Keown? So like, I got to squeeze it in somehow. I got to make it work because it might be the only time I get to color him. Who knows?
Well, I'd ask you to color one of my short stories here, but I'm afraid you wouldn't be able to do it and get it done.
It just depends on the time. Like I've gotten my calendar pretty set in stone. And there was like a few pieces I squeezed in there, but it just depends on when you would need it. We could probably do something, but I'm trying to cut back on as much as that as possible, just so I can.
Well, yeah, you got your own thing to do. I mean, I get it, but
running out of time, honestly.
I'm looking at I'm talking about like a 15-page story.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's pretty meaty. I know Shane was wanting to collab on something, but that hasn't materialized just yet. I kind of like first come, like whatever's right in front of me that I have time for, and I don't know.
Well, when I get it done, I'll talk to you. I mean, it's for the nightclub story, and but
for sure, yeah.
If you can do it, that'd be great. If you can't, well, find somebody else. It's all right.
Well, like I want to, I'm always open to color more David stuff. Like I have a few, coloring people is really weird. Like everybody wants me to like color their stuff, and they're like, "Why doesn't it look like David Williams?" And it's like, well, because you're not David Williams.
Yeah, because you don't draw like David Williams. That's why. I mean, thankfully, I'm better than David, so my stuff is fine. But
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing from David there. This isn't uncomfortable or anything.
He didn't. No, he didn't see it coming. I got him by surprise, so he wasn't ready for it.
So I'm gonna whip out some watercolor, but this time I'm gonna do something a little different. I was talking to David about this. This piece, I did this one, and I discovered that you can't watercolor over ink very well, unless it's probably really watered down. But to get those bright colors, I was laying it on thick. But with this background, I did notice that you can ink over the watercolor pretty successfully. So I think I'm going to do my watercolor wash on this first, then hit like the hair with the bright red.
Okay.
Stuff like that. We'll see how this works. I'm still testing out the inks. I haven't really messed around with them too much.
I don't know, David. I think Kelsey's going for that like color shock again to kind of put people in his favor. He's got, see, then he can. All you have to do, man, is do a mediocre drawing and throw a bunch of red on there, and you're like the winner. Look at that. But we're not. It's not a competition though, so it's like it. You know.
Mediocre drawing. Oh shit! My knees buckled on that one. Oh my God. Woo!
Shots fired.
Oh man, shots hit, man. Oh God, I'm sinking. You're sinking my battleship over here. Let's see.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just having a little fun with you.
Yeah, well, just remember that when you lose.
Yeah. Just remember that when I put the red on.
Yeah. What's Oh, our chainmail is silver, right? I was going to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Gold.
No, it's green.
Gray.
Yeah. Hey, man, what are you doing?
Well, it would have green in it if she was around green. Chrome, you know.
Well, you saying like an
that's the messed up thing. It's like if I throw him off or try to throw him off with color, he'll freak it so well that I'll go, you know what? That was right.
Well, it's like I remember doing a snow scene, and I had it was all orange colors, orange and yellows and whites and stuff like that. And Stelfreeze was like yelling at me. He's like, you're not supposed to be able to do warm colors for winter, but it works. Yeah, I'm like, well, what happens when the sun hits the snow? It's yellow.
Hey, look at that. JP's
pee in it. It's yellow.
Jason Palmer's in the audience. I knew Aaron would go Solomon Kane deep cut. All right. Jason, thanks for joining us, man. Jason, of course, is a tremendous artist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Does a lot of, licensed TV and movie stuff. Really, really good stuff. So I don't know, Jason, I'm sure you got a website out there someplace, but check Jason Palmer out on Instagram and different places like that to see some really cool artwork. Mighty Joe's reminding us 1 hour remaining. TikTok.
I need to go clean my water. I'll be right back.
Jason and I have been friends for over 30 years.
Yeah, I've known Jason. Oof. Hey, you remember that? What was the show? Was it SuperCon where you did the cover to the program book that had Adam West and as
He
Batman
painted,
and
who
was the guy
over my pencils and inks?
Who did?
Jason Palmer.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
because remember that show they had Batgirl was there. I mean, the whole cast was there, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
I don't think anybody else showed up, but they were there. I mean, there wasn't many fans there, as I recall. It was kind of
well, Adam West had a huge line, and so did.
Well, yeah. Oh, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of the one where the girl that played Tabitha on Bewitched.
She was there too.
Oh, is that the same show?
Same show.
Yeah, because I remember Jason Palmer, me and Gary Martin were talking to her, and she came over, and I traded her a drawing for a signed picture. So.
Yeah. I think Jason has a story about her too.
I mean, that was a long time ago, man. That was in the 90s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I got time for a smoke. Yeah, good. Is nobody else coloring their piece?
Yeah, you're not going to sucker me into that again. I'm going two characters here, and I'm going to have a hard enough time getting this done as it is. I'm not making excuses. I'm just saying.
This doesn't even say what kind this is. Pieces, 20 pieces, watercolor cake tin set. Doesn't even tell the brand or anything. All right, well, it works. It's gonna suck because this is like the first time I bought one of these where I was like, damn, these are great. Probably bought it for like $4 or something. Never been able to find it again.
You need to just quit buying art supplies, man. It says every time you buy them, they go out of business.
Well, that's kind of the problem with some of the cheap stuff as well, because they're just like fly by night. It's like I ran into this deal where this guy makes paint, and I was able to throw this set together really cheap and make whatever. But sometimes it works. But then that was like the only time they ever did it.
Now, have you guys ever done any drawing on watercolor paper and inked? Like brush inked on watercolor paper, because it's like
weird.
I've done that for some illustrations I've done. It's really cool because you can get a dry brush effect really easy, obviously, without just because of the texture on the paper.
Well, that's what I would do to try to get that coquille board type thing, and use black Prisma pencil just to get that kind of
Yeah,
Pretty
I don't.
cool.
I draw small, so any tooth on the paper really gives me hell. So,
oh, that's right. I don't get that, man. Like Roquefort's the same way, man. He draws like super tiny, but it's like really cool stuff. Like, how do you draw that small, man?
I have terrible vision, and I can only see when I'm really close to the paper. That's.
Well, the way that now hang on a second. That doesn't make any sense. You would want to draw bigger if you have terrible vision, wouldn't you?
Well, no, because
vision.
Yeah, it's weird how when I'm drawing, I don't know. I have beyond my vision, I have a weird thing where it's hard to keep proportions together when it's really big drawing.
Well, that's true, but I mean, it's like, if you're drawing on the side of a wall, but come on now.
Well, I've even had that trouble like drawing. It's not as bad when you have an 11x17 interior page because you're breaking it up into smaller chunks, panels and stuff. But some of that stuff, like I'd love to be able to. Some of the stuff David does, where the figure is 11x17, he fills up the whole page.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't do that, but David does do a lot of the pre-drawing. He's using the flip technique. He's using the big light table. If I had a giant light table like that, I'd probably be more apt to trying things like that. But already my light table, it does not fit an 11x17 page, and I always crease it. I always end up with the page going off my light box a little bit and my arm resting on it and creasing the paper, and it annoys me so much that I'll just prefer not to even do it. I'll just freehand it, do it the hard way.
How many do you guys have? A lot of like unfinished pieces?
Oh yeah.
Or are you pretty good about once you start something, finishing it?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4,
just within arm's reach.
6, 7, 8. That's like 8 FedEx boxes full of art.
Oh my god!
And a lot of unfinished art, and layouts and all this kind of stuff. And behind my desk is probably another 6 or 8 FedEx boxes full of art.
Wow.
It just tons of it.
Yeah, I got tons of unfinished stuff too, and a lot of it is like I'll get an idea for something and I'll do a layout, right? Pretty detailed layout, and say, oh yeah, this would be a great piece, and then it never gets past that, or maybe you get the pencil laid out and then something else comes up that's actually a paying gig, or then it gets pushed aside. But yeah, I got a ton of that stuff too. I was just curious if it was me or if that was pretty regular occurrence with you guys.
Yeah. Yes. I got when I was doing that the cover for the Expendables Go to Hell, I literally have enough to fill up a whole book just on trying to get Stallone's face right.
Wow.
And that includes like whole covers that I've drawn and then just got to Stallone's face and then just kept whiting it out until I'm like and there was even a point where I was literally like, you know, I think I'm in hell or something. I can't get past this. Like, I really felt like something dire was happening. Like I was getting lost, and I'm like, maybe this is where some artists really get stuck and like can't let something go. Like, maybe that's me. Maybe that's how this starts. Stallone's face.
Citizen Ronan says, an aside, Norman Rockwell used Rubens bristle brushes and Winsor and Newton oil paint. Nothing fancy to create his masterpieces. Kelsey's in good company with his supplies. Yeah. So there you go. So he's basically saying that you're the Norman Rockwell of comics.
I'll take it.
That's pressure, though, man.
Nah, I'll take it.
Gary Martin's in the chat. Hey, Gary.
G Money.
Sequential Treasure says, at Aaron Lopresti, I'm not making excuses. I'm just making excuses. That's all. I think I'm getting a bum rap. I think people are misreading me.
It's all in the tone, maybe.
Yeah, it could be. Maybe I just got a poor attitude, which I probably do. In fact, I would admit freely that I do. I've got a piss poor attitude.
I do, especially dealing with like electronics and like terrible movies, and I can. That's where my people are like, don't you have an opinion on this? I'm like, no, but man, if that movie stinks, let me tell you, I can tell you all about it. David hits me up. He's really funny, man, because he's like hitting on stuff on a level that I'm not. Obviously, because he's like, "Did you see this movie? It's just really good." And I'll go, or like, you know, the Zack Snyder stuff. Like he has a whole take on Zack Snyder that no one else has.
Yeah, I know.
And it's pretty good. I mean, I'm like, oh well, you kind of getting me there. I mean, but I forget
it's
my
good.
point was. What were we talking about?
Well, no, it's good. It's good that you can defend your opinions even if they're bad. I mean, you should be able to.
I'm not sure that was the point I was trying to make, but we'll stick with that.
I think that's where you're going.
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
I just got that. Did you guys back that Rights and Tribute book at all?
Oh no. I didn't even know about it.
I finally got my copy. I did. I did a piece for it. And there's a lot of, it's a really nice looking book. The guys that put it together did a really nice job. The artwork has a variety of different people in there for your different tastes. But there's a lot of like he had Bill Morrison, for example, I thought was interesting to write up on a page and a half, thing about rights. And then Chaikin did something in there, and, Al Milgrom. And I was reading the Al Milgrom thing. And Milgrom and Simonson used to be roommates, right, in New York, back in the early days of their careers. And Wrightson apparently eventually moved into their building. I guess this was a building. I guess Chaikin lived there at one point. It was kind of like the comic book apartment building or something.
Yeah.
And so he said that the book has this section at the end where it just has a bunch of old, like, partially completed Wrightson pencil drawings and stuff that I'd never seen, which is remarkable for me because I thought I'd seen it all,
Yeah.
And then so I'm always like thrilled when I get to see something I had not seen before. And so it's got a bunch of the stuff that Al Milgrom had. And he said the story was that Wrightson called them up, and said, hey, you guys, I'm cleaning out my flat files. If you want anything, come over and, or I'm going to throw it out. And so him and Simonson, I guess, just bolted,
of course,
to his apartment, and they went through the flat files. And he said that Milgrom said that, him and Simonson were taking turns, taking pieces and stuff. And Simonson finally said, I think this is all, I think I got what I want. And then Al Milgram I guess he said to Wrightson, well, then can I just have the rest? And Wrightson's like, yeah. He goes, if you can throw them out, I'll take the rest. And so Al Milgram's got all these really cool Wrightson drawings, that you've never seen before, but they're published in the back of this book. I'm sure it's not everything he has, but it was amazed because it was during Wrightson's prime years, and he was doing really, really cool stuff. And, to get to see stuff I'd never seen before, it was really cool.
What's your favorite Wrightson work?
Well, it's too easy to say Frankenstein, right? Because that's everybody's, because it's just so mind bending. Yeah. But I think his work in Creepy and Eerie is by far and away the best comic book work he's ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, people kind of gravitate towards Swamp Thing, which is good, and I like it. But boy, his stuff, he really, when he started Swamp Thing in 1972, he was just really hitting his stride. And so you could see the evolution and growth of his talents through, issues 1 through 10. But boy, about 1974, when he went over and started doing creepy stuff, he was just rocking it. And so there's just some tremendous stuff over there. That's the kind of stuff I really like looking at. And the stuff he did in the studio too was, some of the prints and things like that are really cool.
I think my first Bernie Wrightson might have been Heavy Metal with that little story that he did that ended up in the movie. Yeah. This kind of pisses some people off, but I'm only a really big Wrightson fan from 72 to 1980 because that to me was his sweet spot. When he finished Frankenstein, I think I don't know if his give a rip kind of went out the window. I think it did. Yeah. He was like, all right, I've said everything I needed to say now. Now
right.
Give me money to do whatever.
Right. So it wasn't like, I'm not saying his artwork was bad, obviously, but just compared to what he was doing between 1972 and 1980, it's just, there's no comparison. I mean, it's just, that's the brilliant stuff. And that Captain Stern thing came out in June of 1980 in Heavy Metal. And that was the last, in my opinion, the last great Wrightson story that he did.
Well, even that's not 100%. There's like elements in it, especially when he's drawing that big guy, the way he does like, fist. Yeah, fist. Yeah, he does like the knuckles and the, just great, the painting, the way he paints it.
Yeah, the watercolor job he did on that was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly what I was responding to is just like, I've never seen anything like that. And of course, then you see, I went and looked at, there was, back when I was just getting in, there was a lot of, they were trying to get him into bookstores, a lot of books. So I'd always see that Spider-Man book that he did.
Yeah, Hooky.
And I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all.
I wasn't, no. The Thing, the one that Starlin wrote, the graphic novel, The Thing, the Hulk one was okay.
Oh, yeah.
That was okay, but
yeah,
it still just wasn't what he was doing previously, And I wonder, I think a lot of guys, especially when you've got guys that are so illustrative in their approach, that's hard work to do that kind of stuff. And, when you get to a certain age and you're kind of like, you got to think, especially when they've achieved what guys like he achieved, it's kind of like, do you really want to put that much effort in every time? I mean, I do, because I feel like I haven't achieved anything. So it's like, I can't rest on my laurels because I've got nothing to rest on.
Right.
But, I would think that, man, you look at Frankenstein and you just go, I'm never going to top this. So,
you gotta, he also had something medical that happened, right? That made it harder for him to hold the pencil and things like that.
Well, there's more, weird Wrightson rumors than probably anything in terms of, if he had some issue with, there was like rumors that like, because of all the from the Frankenstein work that he got so much ink on his hands that it like grew mold in his joints. And I don't think that's true, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff that was going around, right?
That's funny.
Now, he did have a fall in the 90s and he broke his hand.
Oh, okay.
On some ice, because I remember when I bought an original from Mitch Itkowitz, who was handling his stuff, and I took it over to Wrightson to get it signed at San Diego, and he was telling me that, because he had to hold his hand a certain way, and he had to like guide it with his other hand because it was messed up.
Dang, I'm going to use all those excuses. That's good. Yeah.
Pete
if
Callahan
don't come out good, it's because my hand was broke. So.
Yeah. Pete Callahan, the mange man, for $5. Thank you so much. Kelsey, if I tried to do what you're doing, it would look like a blotchy Rorschach painting done by a formaldehyde baby.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And that's, nobody should say that ain't art. That's art.
Yeah.
Skip Edwards says he broke his wrist and started holding the pencil when the cast came off.
Yeah, I actually I broke my finger. You can see it's all like I'm in a perpetual Spock hand thing. Yeah. But she wrapped it up when I went to the doctor's thing. She wrapped it up with this hand, with this finger, so it kind of put it over to the side. And I'm like, man, he should have wrapped it so that I can bend it easily for my hand. So I've had to like relearn how to draw. And even then, I drew with my left hand. Frazetta style for a while.
Did you really?
Yeah, well, I had to keep working, but thankfully, I mean, I'm not as cool as Frazetta, obviously, but the way I did it was Clip Studio has all the tolerances, and you can set them to maximum, and just draw slowly and carefully, and it'll work. So because it corrects your shaky hand line. So I just kept working the whole time.
So basically, you cheated by using a computer aid.
No, I improvised. I tapped to overcome.
It's all how you look at it.
That's right.
Hey guys, can we take a moment to recognize the passing of Jason Pearson?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We lost Jason. Well, we just found out about it a couple days ago, but apparently he passed in December before Christmas. And what a tremendous talent. I mean, I knew him a little bit back in the day, but David, you were pretty good friends with him, I know, so you may have a few things you want to say, but he was just a tremendous talent, and my exposure to him was always positive. He was always a good guy, always, friendly, talked to him, and didn't seem to be a guy with a big ego or anything like that, but he was just incredibly talented and was a big fan of his work. So
yeah, it was very much about the work, I mean, you say ego, it's like he had the ego of any of us, but it all came down to the craft, because he was all about trying to create movement and energy and stuff like that. And I mean, I don't know much beyond that. David, you knew him for like before he even started, right?
Like from the very beginning. And we met at San Diego when it wasn't in that convention center where it's currently at. But he bought like a commission from me when I was just getting my work at DC, and he bought
Jaguar
like $100 commission and stuff like that. And the funny thing is that anytime someone brings up like an old commission, I go, "Oh, burn it," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And before he passed, he was being very reminiscent of, yesteryear, and, he brought up that commission, and he whipped it out and showed it to me and said, "Man, I still love this as much as the day I first got it."
Oh, that's nice.
And we were just reminiscing about old times and how, much we love and appreciate each other and each other's comics. And he was being a little bit more so reminiscent of yesteryear, because I'm all, hey, what are you doing now?
Right.
And Jason had this thing that, I'm going to come out and, stay with you for a little bit. This is when he was just in Gaijin, and I was just like, yeah, you can come out and visit. And this is when I was living out in the Bay Area.
No, I mean, stay with you for like a week, right?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what happened.
Exactly.
And we were at San Diego Con, and this was probably around 93. And my mom drove up from the Bay Area to my aunt and uncle's house, because that's where we were staying instead of getting a hotel. So we stayed there in Escondido, and we would drive out to the convention. In this particular time, when the show was over, we're saying bye to everybody. Hey, bye. And Jason was just right there, and he said, hey, where's the car at? Where, I'm going to your house. Like right then, you know what I mean? I was just like, what? And sure enough, he just bum rushed, my mom's van, and we all got drove up from San Diego back up to the Bay Area and stuff. He wasn't taking no for an answer. And the crazy thing is that when he offered before, we had our own apartment, but we were in transition. So we were back at my mother and father-in-law's house before we got our other apartment. And so we all bunked in this one room and stuff like that. And I'm just like, what the heck is going on? It was just, he didn't care, but it ended up being so much fun, that we had. And he just stayed there for about a week,
Wow.
and absorbed it. And we did so many drawings, and we did these, like I would do a Batman and he did a Nightwing on the same drawing. And then I would ink his Nightwing and he inked the Batman, and we did all these other types of drawings. All those drawings are long gone, but it makes me mad that I don't have them now.
Yeah.
But it was so fun just having that moment of just like, it was like what you have before you're a professional.
Yeah.
The things of you just draw because you love to draw.
Yeah.
And you're drawing with a friend. It's, hey, what do you think of this? And, how about this? Oh, let me show you this. This is how I come to this conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was so fun and enlightening. And that's how he always was with me.
Yeah.
And overly complimentary to where I was just like, easy, it's a little too much, and I said, you do realize who you are, and he's like, of course, So, but he was always, a great guy. And we both were huge Prince fans and stuff. And so we would always, hey, you hear this latest Prince bootleg or this, that, and all this other kind of stuff. So we had a relationship on many different levels and stuff like that. And it was such a gut punch to hear this, it just stopped me in my tracks, and I was just numb all day behind it.
Yeah. The first time I used to just cold call people. That's how I would talk to Mike Mignola, because his name was in the phone book, I was just really eager young guy trying to get, to talk to anybody that was in comics. And I found the Gaijin Studios number from these guys that I'd worked with that mentored with Stelfreeze a little bit. So they had his number, and I would just call, and you could skip around to the different extensions. And I just would call all of them until I found someone. And sure enough, there was Jason. And he was doing body bags and had the Michael Golden covers, and I was a huge Michael Golden mark and a Jason mark. I loved his stuff, but Michael Golden was a mystery man, so it was all it's hard to find any information. And I'm like, well, he's doing his covers, he must know some stuff. So I'm like, I called him up, and I was like, how what about Golden? What does he do? Does he really tear up his art and all this stuff? And he's like, yeah, he's just about the work, and he doesn't, and he's putting on like a big show. He's like, he's just like me. We're just about the craft, and we don't care about all this fan stuff or your questions or whatnot. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I'm sorry. I'll let you go. And he's like, no. What you want? And then he would talk to me for the next hour and a half about comics and how cool Michael Golden is. He was just a big fanboy as all of us,
Mm-hmm.
But he liked to try to play the tough guy a lot. But he was a real sweetheart. I always enjoyed hanging out with him. I mean, there was one time where we all knew he was coming to the studio to hang out, but we didn't know when. Like, he was real cagey about stuff sometimes. And then he just showed up, and like, I was working at home and I didn't know he was there. And then suddenly there's a knock on my door, and I look through the peephole, and it's Steen Walsh and Stelfreeze. So I open the door, and then around comes the corner, because this giant, I mean, Jason was huge. He was a big dude, like tall. Even for me, like I feel like he was a little taller than I was, and I'm like 6'1", but it could be just his presence. But he flies around the corner, and he barges through my door, and he's like, starts running through my refrigerator, exactly like you were saying. He was like, hey man, what you got? What's up here? What's up? What you got to eat? And I'm like, I've never met you before in my life. And he was such a presence.
Yep. Force of nature.
Yeah. So yeah, I got some good photos from that time period. I was very blessed to be able to meet him and stuff. Work with him a little bit on some colors and things like that.
Yeah, the only thing I can say though, really, and I have to put this out there, is that he was really a lousy basketball player. And, so it's a good thing he was a tremendous artist.
Oh man, no, he can't
that's
defend
how
himself
you
now.
met. You remember?
Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Basketball game. Gary Martin, me, David Williams. Was Jerome there? Or was it?
Jerome was there,
and then and Jerome was pretty good player. Gary was really good. Gary played, some junior college ball. David was a big talker, but obviously,
you mad because I crossed you over so many times,
dude? You see, I think you fell and hit your head on the concrete, and you're misremembering. But boy, Pearson, man, he was bad.
I bet you that's not how he remembered it, though.
No, probably not. But it was fun, though. I mean, we actually took time away from the convention to go. There was like it must have been was it a school? I can't remember, but there was like it was close enough to the convention center that we walked over there right at lunchtime or something.
Yes, it was a school,
and played basketball. We should have been at our tables, but it was fun. Yeah, that's the first time I met him. Was at that.
Yeah, he'll be missed, man. He was such a he's one of those guys, you think about comics, you think, you probably have a few names on the tip of your tongue, he was one of those guys. I mean, he didn't do a whole lot of work, but he left a huge impression.
Yeah, I mean, you never heard anybody said, no, I don't like Pearson's work. I mean, he was a guy that everybody respected his work. For good reason. And he did that series of covers, I remember, in the 90s for DC. Like, there was like that penguin close up, and then there was one he did of Northside that was just really cool. And I remember looking at that series. Stuff. Yeah, I was looking at that stuff going, okay, I got to adapt some of this to my work because this is just too freaking cool. It was like there was a Golden influence, but it wasn't. You know what I mean? It was definitely his own, but you could catch the little Goldenisms in there, and it was like. He took Golden. I'm not going to say to a different or better level, but he took Golden and kind of did his own thing with it. I guess much like Arthur Adams kind of took Golden and did his own thing. But
he was one of those weird guys where you'd be like, oh, I could definitely see you're like Stelfreeze and like Golden like had a baby, and then you'd ask him like, what do you like? Do you like those guys? And he's like, no, I like John Byrne, or somebody like that. He would just be like, what?
Just to throw you off his scent.
Yeah, you don't draw anything like that. Yeah, good times.
Yep.
He will be missed.
Yep.
I was trying to do the white skin tone that we did on that one color piece, but man, it looks like she's a dead woman. Not too.
Does that mean you're messing up?
It's possible.
Kelsey's. It took him what? This is our 6th show. He's starting to crack under the pressure.
It's not. We're not done yet, fellers. So don't get your hopes up.
Well, no,
How much time do we have left?
You've got 26 minutes if you want to be.
Oh, there ain't no way I'm finishing mine.
See, here we go again. Same old.
Hey, look at what you get when I get to, turn it in the next week. Bye.
Okay, as long as you turn it in next week. But
uh-oh. No, God, I'm rushing. Now I'm messing up.
See.
Oh my God.
The pressure is just too great. He can't take it.
What am I doing?
And you're even drawing small, dude. So it's like I honestly I have no sympathy for you at all.
You think it's all because I've drawn small? It's like
That's right. You don't have as much to draw.
oh. All right, that's just being efficient.
Yeah, okay, well. You've got time. You got 30 minutes. 30 minutes is a long time in the art world. So just
Oh, now she's got jaundice. Oh, this is just terrible.
Don't go to the yellow, man. Don't ever go to the yellow.
I went to the yellow.
No, not on the flesh tones. Kelsey.
I'm gonna pull back. Let's see if I can add some red. Let's see if we can fully screw the pooch on this one. Yeah, but as soon as I get that bright red hair color in there, it'll change everything. So
What might it worked for Devil Dinosaur. So
yeah, so I've gotten, like you said, we were asking about, do you ever finish the piece? I've been trying to learn that. Just keep working on it. Keep trying to get past that point where you're like, this is terrible. And oftentimes, it'll work itself out.
How often does that happen in painting, though, right? You get to a stage, you go, oh my gosh, this is horrible.
Like right about now.
You fight through it, and you're like, it ends up becoming something. You're like, oh, okay.
Well, it's with acrylics or even watercolor, I guess there's a certain give. You can always kind of erase. But inks, no, you're not fixing those. You got to white them out.
What do you think of the pens, Aaron?
Yeah.
Well, I'm using them sort of loosely because of the time constraints. But man, what a variety of line weights you can get.
Yep.
Relatively easily. I have to be careful because I'm not sure exactly how to use them, and some of these the weights are coming out a bit thicker than I want on some spots. But I think these are pretty cool, actually.
The larger chisel side, you could get even thinner lines than the smaller.
Well, I did the whole zombie down here in mostly with the big side, and I was getting some nice feather lines.
Mm-hmm.
So I these are cool. I gotta master them, but I'm still figuring out what they're doing. But I do like the flexibility on these. It's weird for me to approach with this flat head, Mm-hmm. And remember, okay, turn it on its side. Turn it on its side.
What'd you call me?
Flathead. What are you gonna do about it?
I think Kelsey was right to use yellow.
That's my Archie name. I was right to use yellow.
Yeah. Now he's.
See, this is reverse psychology.
Yep.
Right?
There it goes. There it goes. We're getting down to
I'm serious.
time. No, you get down to crunch time and David's working you.
Trying to get me to do more. Yeah, add more yellow.
Add more yellow. That really looks good.
I think I made it work. I had to add a lot of orange.
I think once you actually deepen like the browns on her gloves and the red of her hair, her flesh will pop for you because you have so many neutral colors. It's not popping the way you want it to.
Maybe that was my plan, and I was trying to lull Aaron into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with David. I think he's right that it will pop it, and what it'll do is it'll really pale those yellows. So you need to juice up those yellows right now because you're going to wish you had later.
Oh, okay. Hey, let me do that. Let me get some yellow in there.
Yeah, that makes sense, Aaron.
I'm sure glad you're here, Aaron. Thank you.
Well, I'm here. That's why I'm here. Now we're getting to that mad rush stage, right? Where it's like, oh my gosh, I got to get this cape done, and it's going to get a little looser now.
Is she fighting in the snow, Kelsey?
Yes. Yes, indeed. I had like I was trying some kind of Frank Thorne oval shape or something, to frame her, but I was like, I don't have any oval shapes that big I'd have to freehand it.
Pete Callahan for $5. Thank you, Pete. Appreciate that. He is the mange man. He's probably referencing all the I do a lot of Bigfoot videos on my show, and it ends up being animals with mange a lot of the time. But anyway, Pete says, might be a weird compliment, but great loincloth, David. So he's kind of on board with Conan's furry pants, is what he's saying.
Yep.
James Murphy chiming in. Kelsey's winning again, I see. There's no winning or losing on this show. It's a studio hangout show.
Funny how
Kelsey's all,
yeah.
He's like, yeah. Sure.
We're just here kind of like, it's like the old studio days with Wrightson and Smith and Kaluta and Jones. It's like we're just pushing each other. That's all. No winning or losing.
Just because you made the poor choice of not doing a lady.
No. What I was going to say was, you can certainly in the chat, if you like mine best, you can certainly say that. I'm not saying you can't do that.
Aaron saves it by doing his go-to zombie.
Yeah. He's in his wheelhouse.
Yeah,
well,
all of it.
Hey, chicks are in my wheelhouse, but
his character has like a Wraith of God type.
You're right.
See, it's all up his alley.
Well, basically what you're saying, David, is any genre is up my alley, and I agree with you. I'm just handle it all.
Well played.
I'm not afraid of anything. I gave Kelsey I didn't want to show Kelsey up by doing a chick because I knew he wanted to go that direction. So it's me. I think being a kind and generous host, trying to help you guys out.
Well, thank you.
And then
I was hoping that Aaron would have did a chick just to see who's gonna,
I thought you were gonna do Red Sonja, so now I ended up with him. You do a great Red Sonja.
He does a good Conan, apparently, if he ever finishes it.
Oh, I haven't looked yet.
It's all
hey.
Well, it's all speculation at this point because there's not a lot there. That's all.
What is it? 10 minutes left.
There's 18 minutes left.
Oh,
David, you don't know. It was 20 minutes ago.
Dude, you didn't stop, did you? You need to still keep doing.
I'm drawing.
Okay, all right.
I'm drawing.
I just draw slow.
All right. Well, you had that Conan figure done so quickly. I thought you'd
I was almost scared.
No, the drawing's all done. Inking is a task.
Well, drawing's half the battle.
Exactly.
And the inking's the other half. So it kind of evens out there to 50-50, right?
Hey, wouldn't she cut her leg like that with her knife right there?
Probably.
Dude, look at that, man. He is just working you, Kelsey.
He's nervous.
Didn't expect David to get that nervous, but he feels bad because he can't finish his drawing, and now he's losing confidence.
I'm just admiring and being observant of certain things.
Okay.
I can't see yours close enough to. I didn't criticize it. I'm saying, hey.
Well, there's nothing to criticize. That's the thing.
Well, why don't you go in close on it? Let me be the judge of that.
Hello.
I think you need to pay attention to your own drawing.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because all I see is a Conan head with a pair of pants, and I don't see anything else.
Uh-huh. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it was about drawing Conan, not Conan's loincloth.
Yeah, exactly. David's like, I'm going to draw Conan's pants today. That's kind of what I'm going for.
Right.
You did get a compliment. Great loincloth.
Yeah, you did. You got a compliment out of it, so it must be working.
Is that zombie looking at what's his name's junk? He's all,
here we go.
Must be junk.
No, see, this is a distraction tactic that David's using.
He doesn't want brains.
Yeah.
He wants balls.
Oh man. That hadn't even occurred to me till you brought it up. Now, see,
people can't unsee it now.
I know that's what you're trying to sabotage me, man. When you should be working on Conan's junk, you're sitting here worried about solving games.
It is junk, so nobody can say anything about it. Yeah.
Well, you got a loincloth that big, you're covering something up.
Yeah.
I mean, you've spent an hour and a half on that loincloth, so there's got to be something going on there.
But he did cut somebody's head off, so he is getting.
Oh, that's right. You do. Yeah. Okay. You got a little bit extra going on there. I'll give you that. But it'd really be nice if we could see it finished. What do you think, Kelsey?
Hey.
I think so. Yeah.
Oh.
You guys are going to be working on yours after this too.
No, I'm going to be done.
Nah.
I'm a completist, man.
No, you're not. Did you complete it? The My Tour? No.
That was because Kelsey suckered me into using paint.
No. Nobody made you to keep painting.
Well, you might have a chance if you use paint today. You should probably think about that.
He will.
Yeah. Solid Kane's not getting the color treatment today. It ain't going to happen. If I go color, I got to go much smaller like you, so I have a chance to get it done.
Can you see that small? Is that no? Can
I see what?
Can you see that small? Are you able to draw small?
Dude, honestly, not great. I do have some new glasses though that are helping, but that's frustrating, man. Because I remember talking to Adam Hughes recently about just how his vision is going, and he's inking much bolder than he used to, and.
Oh, good. I like it. He needs to loosen up, get a little bold.
Who are we talking about?
Adam. He has been loosening up a bit with what's that Archie book he did? I really enjoyed that. His work in that had cross hatching and kind of sketchy lines and stuff. I like that.
Yeah, I think he's inking with a marker or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did that on that Captain America story, that World War II Captain America story. That was a couple of years ago, but
I'm not sure cool. I saw that one.
Yeah, it was. What was that in? I think Wade wrote it, but it was. It wasn't like the full issue. It was just like it was a flashback to a Golden Age, World War II Cap thing. He was fighting some
Was that Cap red, white, and blue thing?
Maybe
several artists did
maybe.
I think Bruce Timm did one.
No.
Okay. But he fought some dominatrix leather Nazi chick.
Ooh.
For it's I don't know, 6 pages, 8 pages. It's really nice. He had some of the originals he was at the Rose City show a couple of years ago. This is pre-COVID, and he he had the originals there, and I was like, I desperately wanted to buy one. And I know the pages were like, I don't know, $800 or about $1,200, something like that a piece. But they were, I think they were like twice up, you know.
Mm.
And I really would have loved to got one, but I just didn't have the cash flow to do it.
Shelly had the cash, and she said, sucker.
No. We're buying a new duvet. We're not buying this.
No, she just texted me and said, quit yelling. So I am so loud, and I don't even realize how freaking loud I am. So I get that from my dad. I don't know if it's an Italian thing or what. It's like,
hey, going to join here.
Hey,
paisan.
Forget about it. Gabagoo, righty.
Oh man, the red I'm using makes it look like a fake redhead. Oh no.
Put a little yellow in there. That'll curb it a bit for you. So is there anything coming out movie wise that you got your eye on that you're thinking I got to see that?
No.
Nothing that intrigues you at all, huh?
Well, it's funny because I was going to do a top movies I saw in 2022, and I didn't see any. I was looking through the list, and I was like, oh, I hadn't even seen Top Gun. So
really?
I bought Top Gun, but I still haven't watched it yet. So I didn't watch a single new movie in 2022. I watched a lot of old stuff.
Yeah, I find myself doing the same thing.
Yeah. There were some good flicks, I'm sure. Non-mainstream kind of stuff. I'm sure there was some fun, smaller projects that came out, but I've been so focused on comics. I've just been having a blast. And YouTube, I watch lots of YouTube.
Yeah.
When they stop trying to sell me my youth back to me, I'll maybe take a look at what they got. But right now, I'm just not interested in the fourth whatever incarnation of whatever. I'm just like, I've seen it. Just give me something new, man. God. Like, remember before Star Wars when there was nothing like Star Wars?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try that again. But not Star Wars. Do something different. Like the creatively bankrupt, man. Yeah, I'm just frustrated.
Do you think it's they don't have any ideas, or they're afraid they want to do whatever they think has been proven, so they're not ever risking anything?
A little bit of both. Like there's guaranteed money and people either watching or hate watching some new thing that people know. Like, I know it's like that new Velma show that's going on right now that everybody's talking about.
Talking nice about it though.
Well, it's garbage apparently. So, but it's like, of course it is. I didn't think it was not going to be garbage.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, how much garbage is it?
How much garbage can I take?
Yeah. And that's not the old guy in me talking. Cause like, I actually love new things. Like I'm all in favor of like trying new, take an old thing and put a new spin on it. Yeah, sure. As long as it's good, I'm all in favor of, but they're not there. And I think people are like finally getting tired of it. So maybe they'll start putting money into some ideas. It's like, man, it doesn't have to be something we know. Just dazzle us with an interesting idea. And I'm sure they're out there. There's tons of people, but they're untested or, because the Hollywood and comics and everything is run by accounting, not by creatives. I remember trying to get some gig going through DC or Marvel, one of them, and they're like, okay, well, we're going to run this up to accounting, and I was like, what? Like to see if my rates are. I didn't even given you my rate or whatever, and they're like, no. I mean, they have to basically see if it's economically viable. Like if there's going to be a return, enough of a return based on the creative crew, the idea, the character, et cetera, et cetera. So like that's how things get approved, whether or not they can make enough of a return to. I mean, and I can understand that because they're spending upwards of 20,000 plus to get a book made in some cases, maybe more. Some of these artists, man.
No, I mean, that's true. I mean, it is if you're going to pay someone a good professional rate, you're going to be looking at, your book is going to cost you just for a single issue, between 16 and 20 grand to produce it. And, it's like, that's in this market, that's a tough, especially on the indie publishers, smaller publishers. It's just like, that's not a guarantee that they're going to get that back.
Nope. So yeah, I can understand a level of that, but I think that I don't know. I think it kind of runs the show now, so that's all they consider.
Yeah, it's not all about those types of numbers and the predictability of stuff like that. Look at Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four didn't Stan just say, oh, I want to just do this thing I wanted to do before I leave, and then all of a sudden it's a hit. You don't know. There was no numbers crunchers there.
No, they just
but it was
stuff against the wall. Yeah,
comics were cheap to produce back then, not like they are now.
No, that has nothing to do with the fact that a fan and a bunch of fans picked up one book, and then that person said, "Hey, Timmy, you got to check out this book, Fantastic Four. It's off the chain." And then he took it over to Bobby, and then he took it over to JoJo, and then all of this everybody's talking about. That's how this stuff works. And you can't say some accountant's going to know how that's going to work.
Right. No, that's absolutely true. It's like, there's no way.
But they've got us tricked into thinking that's how it works.
I remember being on a school bus, and I wasn't really into comics. I was into movies, and I wanted to be a truck driver, and I just dumb kid. Like, and then I saw somebody had that glow in the dark skull Ghost Rider cover. And I'd never seen anything like it. I'd seen glow in the dark stuff, but not like a skull, and then you see inside, and I was like, I don't know, I just never seen anything like it, and it was dazzling. And that was just some friend on a school bus. That was not marketing or TV commercials, just pure word of mouth.
Yep.
But kids don't talk to each other.
Look at the
now.
Matrix movie. That movie at first didn't get off the ground until Bobby told Timmy, and Timmy told JoJo, and all. That's how those things work.
JoJo, man, JoJo talks a lot.
I get words.
Yeah. No, I remember seeing that Super Bowl commercial for the Matrix, and I was like, "What is this?" I was like, "I've never seen anything like this." I was like, "Man," I was blown away from moment one. And then, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, but look, and then all of a sudden, marketing came in, and they marketed it.
Yeah, what is the
but
Matrix?
Jimmy told JoJo and all that kind of stuff, and they said, "Oh, these other ones suck," and people started falling off. And that's how all of this stuff works.
5 minutes.
All right. Well, I think I'm done.
No, you ain't done.
Yeah,
you need to put a wolf back there.
No, what are you, nuts? I wouldn't do a wolf if I had an hour left. That takes immense concentration, a lot of tracing.
Immense concentration, a lot of tracing.
No, I think I'm going to sign this bad boy. Right after
I'm just filling in some black, man, and I am done.
Sign it, David Williams. And I'll sign mine, David Williams, so we'll get first and second.
This isn't a competition. Not a competition.
That is true. There's
Well,
no
it can't be a
There is
competition.
no competition.
It can't be a competition because David never finishes his piece.
Oh.
I don't need to. That's the thing.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, he won in the way off, when you're the stare down,
Exactly.
like the sumo wrestlers do that little move at the beginning. That's who determines who the winner is right there.
Yep. You flinched.
Yeah.
Does anybody else wonder why in Enter the Dragon that when they're when they're at that party before the competition begins, the night before the competition begins,
Yeah.
and there's those there's just sumo wrestlers in the middle of the room while everybody's eating.
How come we didn't get to see them fight? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just they weren't very big. I thought they were like kind of weenie.
Oh.
It's like, man, get the heavyweights in there. What is going on here?
Well, people were smaller back then.
Mm.
The sumos today, they ain't like
They're
the sumos.
insanely big now.
Yeah, and we're being generous. They're fat. I mean, back in the day, the sumo wrestler that fought James Bond, to bring it back to Bond, that guy was solid muscle. That guy, he was terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? I think that was that was in the one where he goes to Japan. That was a Roger Moore one, or not a Roger Moore, Sean Connery one, I think. Oh yeah. But yeah, that guy like threw a couch with no problem. Like that's yeah, crazy. All right. Let me.
Who was the guy that threw his hat in Goldfinger? What was that guy's name?
Oh, Odd Job.
Odd Job. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember his real name or nothing, but
didn't he end up like having like killing somebody or something weird like that? The actor?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
No, actually, it was the guy who was doing an Odd Job riff, and I think he was in Austin Powers.
Oh,
he ended up killing somebody.
Look at that! Look at that cutie right there. Come on,
she's hot.
It's hot. It's too hot in the hot tubs.
Oh, you took out the highlight in her hair?
Did I have a highlight in her hair?
I thought you did. Maybe I just saw it wrong.
Yeah, I went. It's because of the lighting, probably. Yeah.
It would have looked a lot better if you'd put a highlight in there. So
yeah, I think those colors are a bit too muted. You're right. You
Yeah.
might have to.
It's okay, fellers. Go ahead and fight to the very end. I like it when they struggle.
Oh.
I like it when you have a thirst for life. Go ahead.
1 minute left.
Yeah.
You got to draw his hand. You forgot his hand.
I'm working on it.
All right, David. David forgot everything. He's still got just the loincloth.
I know. It's like he's been over there just coasting for the last hour doing nothing.
The whole thing's right there.
I can't see it if it's not inked. I have bad vision.
Yeah, you can. You can see it.
The light's too bright. I don't know. We'll have to see at the end here.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Hyrule Guy says GoldenEye N64 is a fun game. I played that obsessively. I loved that game. I was a big GoldenEye nut all around.
I don't play games at all, man. Video games. I just
You play tons of games. You've been playing on my head all night long.
Yeah, but video games, man. I suck at video games. My son used to, when he was little, would talk me into playing Battlefront with him, right? And at Star Wars, and I'd sit there and I couldn't figure out where I was at or who I was supposed to be killing, and he would sneak up behind me and blast me in the head like within 5 minutes of every game.
Good boy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, let's play again. And I'm like, why would I want to play so you can kill me in 5 minutes? And that's exactly why he.
So you'll get better. You got to get better. You should be playing at night, at night, trying to get better, and then take him down, start sneaking up on him.
Yeah.
Battlefront.
Yeah. Yeah, I just could never quite get that sort of that spatial relationship of where I was supposed to be and who I was supposed to be killing, and I don't know.
I play one game now. Well, occasionally I'll play uh like what is those games where you're Fallout 4, or one of those games. But lately, for the last several years, I've been playing Minecraft. That's it. What are you saying? Aquamarine go deeper. You mean with the background? The Art of Roy cover saying deeper, more aquamarine green.
Yeah, he's right.
For the background.
Yeah,
really,
I think you kind of copped out. Really,
that looks like
that would really pop. So that's kind of
radioactive piss.
Yeah, it's a little like last week when I won. You guys were right about that. Making that much darker. So that's, I think,
No. You mean when this one?
Oh, wait. Where did that come from? Did you do that all week?
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm done. Are we ready to show our wares, gentlemen?
Yeah, I guess so. I ain't got my aquamarine done. Hold on. No.
Okay. Yeah, where's that wolf at in there?
Oh man.
All right. Well, David, I'm gonna go you full screen here so everybody can see your. David did not do this today. This took him a week to do this.
No, it didn't.
Wait a minute. Show it again.
I just inked it yesterday.
Dude, I just went full screen. Show it again.
I just inked it in a 16-hour stint yesterday.
All right. So there's Conan so far.
Man, if only it were done.
Oh my God! Look at those legs. Look at those. That would be so great if that was finished. Gosh, can you imagine what that would look like done? Like the little devil guy there with the horns.
Yeah, he's a penciler. This guy, you can tell.
Yeah,
spent all his time penciling.
Yeah, it gets a little.
It's beautiful.
It's not. Not a big fan of the inking, apparently. David's confused when you say finished art. David is like, what? So we have to bring him along slowly.
I think my only criticism would be that his arms need to be way bigger.
No,
you like the skinny arms?
No, dude. My only criticism would be that it's not finished. Ooh, past Master Dance is here. Let me get some more salt for that wound.
Both of you guys are wrong.
For Faux Peasy says, David, can you please drop a red on that black and white on the bottom of the head and edge of the knife?
Yeah, we'll see it next week sometime. We'll see
get a little blood on there, yeah. Jiminy Cricket says, David needs to do an animated Conan film. Okay, David, can we see Frankenstein Jr. again real quick? Because I didn't get you full screen when you were showing all of it.
Oh, yeah.
Do what?
Jr.
Show Frankenstein Jr. again, because I got you full screen, so I want everybody to see it.
This?
Yeah, the finished piece.
This whole thing I threw together all week.
Hey, I sent it to you in the why don't you show it on the
Did you put it in the private chat?
One I sent to you.
Oh yeah, show that
grab
one
it from Twitter.
Oh, okay. Yeah, hang on a second here.
Yeah, let's see that. Good scan. Yeah, send it to me. I'll throw some color on that.
Oh
no, I mean send me the original so I can put.
Oh, that's.
I'll color it up. That'll be my fee. I'll just take that. Sorry, Aaron. I'll take it.
No.
Fight Aaron for this one.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. There it is.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Crisp.
Yeah. So I want to remind everybody in the chat that we're going to do is we're going to have a art auction for. I don't think we're going to do everything we've drawn on the show, but some of the pieces we've done on the show. And I think what we should do is. I think you said 10 episodes, David, and then we'll do
yeah.
So we'll do 10 episodes and then we will do an art auction and we'll do our show on that 10th week and then we'll do the auction right after the show. So it'll be like an extended show. But we'll keep you guys, you got a $5 bid on that already, David. So Starting low. High rule guy, $5. Okay, I bid $6, so now it's mine. Okay, all right. So David promises to have Conan completed to show us the beginning of the next show. Okay, Kelsey, let's take a look at what you've done.
Well, you can see she's sporting no legs, and still she manages to win every fight.
Yeah.
We'll just cut it off right about there.
Yeah.
So basically what you're telling us is that you're drawing small and you still couldn't do full figure.
Again, this is the only part that really matters. Somewhere around here. We'll just call it a win right about there.
There you go.
Pastmaster Dan says Liefeld homage out the feet.
Yeah, exactly. Liefeld doing Red Sonja.
Jim Porter says love Kelsey's Red Sonja.
Thank you.
Randy Howell just upped the bid to $7. So that Frankenstein Jr. is growing in value. Fritzy Schnitzel says the colors pop. So once again, Kelsey's fooling the crowd with his color anthem.
It's my secret weapon.
Yeah, anytime red, people go, oh.
Just imagine if she was like sitting on the back of Devil Dinosaur, you'd have the ultimate feast, man.
Oh my goodness.
TC for $1.99 says great artwork, great show. Thank you, TC. Thank you for the $1.99. Thanks for joining us. Jiminy Cricket says those are rookie bosoms in this racket. You got to pump those puppies up.
True. Point taken. I'll have to get better on the next one.
Oh boy, Geek Avengers asking a dirty question. I'm not putting you on there, Geek, when you're going to talk dirty. Hey, artists, I'm kind of late, but he goes, what are you doing? But still get to enjoy the final work. Well, you can always go back and look at the process, man. That's the great thing about. All right, so I guess it's my turn now.
Let's see it.
It's time.
Bam. Look at it.
Let's see. Waiting for my. Ooh,
dang. On some of those faces.
So you spent all that time on all that grunge of that guy, the dead guy.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, wow.
There you go. Yeah.
I like
he really wants that guy to go for his crotch.
I'm not sure that's what he's thinking. I'm not sure that's clearly.
Get at it. Like he moved his weapons away for it. He's just
he's just opening the door. Huh? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he's like, oh.
So this is that pen that David recommended right here. Let's see if that'll focus in for us.
You made him work really good.
There we go.
Yep, that's nice.
You can see that feathering. Awesome. That feathering was done with the broadside, or I mean, I used the thin side of the broad pen.
Oh, you use that pen? Oh yeah,
yeah.
That's great. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think? You think you're going to still mess with it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good sketch pen. I like the flexibility because you can get kind of a brushy feel to it if you want.
Mm-hmm.
Now I had to go in. I used a micron on Solomon Kane's face because I didn't feel like I could get I wasn't confident that I could go in there and get the thin lines that I wanted.
I like the shadow, the way you lit up the shadow where you could see his eyes. That's cool. Bounce light.
Real nice.
Thank you. So yeah,
if only it were colored.
Yeah.
If only Dave's was inked and yours was colored.
So in other words, you're saying if only it was a finished product like yours.
Yeah, pretty much.
We could feel better about rules. You don't make the rules. Jeez. Hey, we've got 200 people watching right now, which is that's the highest we've had yet. So the show is growing. I appreciate that. You guys, if you're new here, if this is the first time you dropped in, or if you haven't liked and subscribed yet, please do that so we continue to grow this channel and do some really fun, killer stuff, which you're seeing right before your very eyes right now.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what is this? What do you got going here?
Yeah, I just wanted to say I'm actually going to be. This is Michael Bancroft and Rob Arnold are doing this giveaway, and they got all these artists involved, and they spin a wheel. You sign up, I guess. If you go to Michael Bancroft's Twitter, they got the Great Wheel giveaway, and you could sign up, and then they'll do a drawing, and all these artists and writers are contributing a piece, and I'm actually contributing my. The one I did here, the Devil Dinosaur. So if you want a chance to win that, go sign up for his little giveaway. And there's a chance to win art from all these greats. So join up.
Very cool. $2 from Leg Kick. Thank you very much, Leg Kick. Not too shabby, Aaron. Thank you so much. Someone says, what pen are you talking about, Aaron? You're talking about these Zig calligraphy pens that Williams turned me on to. Zig Memory Systems calligraphy pens. They have a flat tip, but if you turn it on its side, you can get real thin lines. And then there's on the other end is a broader tip. You can see there. And of course, you turn it on its side, you can get a real thin line as well. So that's what I'm doing on the Solomon Kane piece.
I feel fairly positive that Ashley Wood is using these. I'd be surprised if he wasn't, because it's the same kind of lines he gets. And I was always like, how is he getting that chiseled edge to stuff?
Yeah, I like that look a lot.
Yeah.
If I can, I'll mess around with these so I can get more comfortable with them and get them to do what I want them to do, because that I like that sort of, well, you can see it in Kane's boots, some of that roughness in there.
Yeah. I love that stuff. Yeah, it looks great.
If you like that look, these are pens that give you a lot of flexibility.
I kind of go back and forth. I personally am getting into that rough stuff, but I come from like a very clean art background generally.
Me too.
Yeah.
But I kept seeing stuff like what Panosian's doing, and Ron Garney, Lee Wheat.
Panosian uses these kinds of pens. He does lines kind of like this.
Yeah, I was starting to think that as I was messing around with this. I was thinking, I wonder if that's what he's using, because kind of looks like the line work he's getting.
Right.
But you almost have to
master at this.
Go ahead.
So I'm sorry, he's a master at ink stuff. So I mean, who knows what he's using?
You got to retrain your thinking, though. If you're a real slick guy, like I've been my whole career, to kind of, it's really odd to kind of make yourself do something looser and rougher, because it doesn't look right. You can almost have to retrain your mind to what you're doing, so you can appreciate it when you do it. I appreciate it when other people do it, but when I do it, I'm kind of like, yeah, that sucks.
You know what I like doing is kind of like what David's doing a little bit, where you have the clean shapes and stuff of animation, but you render out the blocks and stuff. So there is, if you look, there's sketchiness in it, but it's done very controlled. He only lets himself go in certain areas where it works. Like you've done with the boots, you kept everything else fairly clean, and you have the highlights and the shadows and everything's there, but then you kind of roughed it in. So it has a nice quality to it.
I guess we're up to $169 for David's young Frankenstein Jr. So
whoa,
we'll see how it progresses over the next couple of weeks.
He's like, I'm not letting that go for less.
Oh no, this is how many. There we go. That's the likes. We have 167 likes, 192 watching. So
awesome.
Hit that button, you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. I think that's pretty much it for this episode of Graybeard's Studio. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Let's see what you guys think about this. What I was going to do is the last show of every month, which will be next week, will be the last show of January. And I think our first show in February is February 1st. But anyway, so I'm going to take all the second place finishers in the poll and make a new poll.
Wait a minute.
What?
No, I don't. Not you personally, Kelsey. Like the next poll will be the Ditko verse, which finished second to Kirby, and the Edgar Rice Burroughs, which finished second to Robert E. Howard, and Johnny Quest, which finished second to the Hanna-Barbera superhero universe. And we'll put that as a poll, and they can choose one of those three.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're still going to get a really good subject matter regardless. but that's like a second chance for some of these other ideas that were kind of cool, but didn't make the cut for whatever reason. For $5, Space Zeus says, "Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. That Solomon Kane is amazing. Thank you, sir."
Hey, I vote for a Space Zeus episode. I would love to draw Space Zeus. That sounds fun. But maybe that's just me, apparently.
Well, it could be. Aaron, or Rasmain says, Aaron, he's quoting me, "I'm going to stuff these ballots." I don't think, see, I just think that there's just people are confused about my personal character or something. I just don't know what's going on there. All right, guys. To the chat, thank you guys so much. This show continues to grow. We continue to get really good numbers, especially for the afternoon. We appreciate you guys taking the time to join us and take this artistic journey, if you will. And I'll let everybody know that we'll be back next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. And I'll put up a new poll on Monday so you guys can decide what we're going to draw, or at least category-wise what we're going to draw. And David will have his Conan piece finished at the beginning of the show next week so he can show everybody. And Kelsey apparently is just going to continue to work on Red Sonja until he gets it right. Until he gets it right. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. And we will, Sunday I have a show at 5:00 called Aaron Live right here on this channel with Shelley Showtime. And on the last Saturday this month, I do a thing called Comic Art Convo at 4:00 Pacific time with James Feely, Sequential Treasures. And we're going to be talking this coming episode about our favorite Star Trek episodes from the original series, of course, because there is no other Star Trek. So
Next Generation, the best one.
There you go. What? No. All right, guys. Till next time. We'll see you. Thank you again.
Later.
Peace out.